6 years. Throughout that timeline, I've done pretty good. I'm pretty happy with things. I currently sell about $7 million in sales a year, about 20 transactions. I've got a team that I'm building. I'm an assistant, hiring a closing coordinator, and I'm also looking for buyer's agents, so I'm building my team as well. I'm also the broker in charge for the office. I carry inventory right now, about 34 listings is what I have, so I'm very active in real estate and love what I do. One of the things we're going to talk about today is working with sellers, which is what I love doing, is listings. You're going to see how you can really leverage your time working with listings. So we're going to talk a lot about that today. So let's get into things and see where we're at today. Let's do a checkpoint. How are we doing with our daily 10-4? How's everyone doing with that? Oh, yeah. Ooh, okay. So how are you doing with adding your 10 people to your database today? Is everybody doing that?
No.
No. Why not? Okay. What kind of problems do you have in your day? What's our challenges?
Just not doing it.
Just not doing it? It's not that it's a challenge.
Yeah, I've got my stacks. It's just
everything else come in the way?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for being honest. I understand.
Yes.
Everybody else, are you all getting your 10 contacts or 10 people to add your database today?
Yeah. I'm not. Hey. Okay.
Does everybody understand what the 10-4 is? As we're going through what Ignite, some of the things, your weekly goals are add people to your database, make 10 contacts a day. Okay. Add 10 contacts a day to your database. Contact 10 people a day. Follow up, write handwritten cards, 10 cards a day, and then visit 10 homes a day. How many of you create 10 homes a week? How many of you create your homes this week? Very good. Why is that important?
So that you know your portion.
So the inventory, right? So when a buyer comes up to you and asks you about the home, or more important, a seller comes and says, how much is that home up the street? You know more about it, right? So that you can be the professional in the market. What are some challenges, some other challenges you're having doing your 10-4? Anybody have any other challenges or obstacles they feel that they need some help with or maybe want to talk out? Yes.
I tend to let this stuff get out.
What stuff?
All kinds of stuff. Just,
Okay.
I need to fill covenants, or I need to get utility history, or I need to, I've got a huge list sitting up on my desk right now of stuff that I need to do.
So that's probably a good problem to have, because that means that you've got business and you've talked to people and now you're doing the research to help them. That's a problem a lot of us have. And what I mean by that is we're doing all this and we get all this business, and now we have to do the service piece, which is research. And when you start doing the research, you feel like I can't do the lead gen anymore because I have to do all this research to take care of the people that I'm working with. We want to make sure we take care of them. It's important, right? We want to walk into the process. I can tell you, don't get out of that routine. You'll get to the point where you have to start leveraging that. You have a team. Yeah. That'll come. And what I mean by that'll come is you want to build up your business so much where you have leads and you have that routine in the morning where you're calling people, you're documenting it, you're tracking your results, and you're doing your follow-up. Then you spend the afternoon to do that, to do your research. A lot of people, they get in the morning like, well, I didn't do this, and I forgot to do pull this covenants, or I forgot to pull numbers for this. And that's the first thing because they want to service that person. But if you keep your morning structure down for your lead gen time, where you script practice in the morning, and then you do your phone calls, and then you do your follow-up, which you do your notes and your calendar, and then that afternoon you set a time for an hour to go and do your research. If you see that's a lot of time, put it on your calendar, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock research. And maybe you don't know what property it is, but you already have it on your calendar.
Right.
And treat that as an appointment. A lot of folks still say, I'm going to do this at 1 o'clock, and something else happens, and they throw that away.
Right.
If I put it on my calendar, I treat it as an appointment. I treat it as a listing appointment. That doesn't matter to me if it's doing market research for a listing or pulling covenants. I treat that as an appointment, just like I'm going to a listing appointment. So I can't, and if you take, erasing the place, but you have to treat that as an appointment. That's the way I've gone over that is to treat it that way. Because if you don't treat it as an appointment, you're going to discard it, and then you're going to get behind, and you're not going to have time to do it. And now you're stressed, so you take out lead gen time, to go and do those things. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
You think that'll help?
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else having the same problems? Where they just get so much stuff and like want to service everything and they can't get through it all? That's a good habit, though, right? Because it means you got business. Just don't forget you have to do that core piece and that lead gen piece. If you're not following up with your daily core, that's when the ebbs and flows come in. Because you get to the point where you quit doing the 10-4, and now you're like, where all the business go? Well, the business went away because you're not doing the 10-4. Make sense? All right. So we're going to see what Diana Kukoska has to say today for our power video. Wait a minute, unplug that. I'll reset.
Good morning, and welcome to Power Ups and Max. Something that I did many years ago. It worked for me. Maybe it'll work for you too. I had a great agent that I got along with wonderfully, and his name was Randy. Okay, Randy and I both called for sell by owners. And so what we would do from time to time is I would call the sell by owner, and then he would turn right around and call him the same day. And when they'd say, I think someone else from your company has called me already, it was Diana Kukoska, and they go, it had a name like that. I don't know what the name was. It was a lady, though, and you go, oh, if she called you, she is like the best agent. I'll tell you, I won't call you anymore because she's fabulous. And then, of course, when he would call someone, and I would call the sell by owner, I would say, oh, Randy was the one maybe that called you. He calls a lot of her sell by owners. He helps them all the time. In fact, he's the best agent. If you list, you should list with Randy. So you have two people back and forth helping to support each other. In essence, you are referring each other. You are giving them that testimonial that this is a great agent. Hey, I'm an agent. I'd love to list your home, and I know if so-and-so's calling you, they will do a fabulous job. Now, you've got to get somebody that's going to do that with you, right? And we kind of kept track of who they were calling and all of those things, and you call these and I'll call these. And we just did it like a couple of times a month. But it was so much fun, and we loved doing that for each other. And then when they would get the listing, we didn't worry about referral fees, and we didn't worry about splitting things, because that way you're coming from scarcity. No, we came from abundance. We knew that there would be enough out there for all of us, and we were both calling every day. See, if you only call once a week, well, then you're going to be coming from scarcity. When you're calling all the time, your odds are better. Your odds of getting an appointment are greater because you're calling, you're getting better each and every day, and you're getting more and more numbers. And after all, numbers. Real estate is a numbers game. So contact 20 people each and every day. Find a partner that you can refer back and forth. They may even give you a letter of recommendation. Like, I've been up against this agent, and they're a great agent. You can take it on your listing appointments. Whatever you decide to do, just think outside the box. Get your name out there and make certain that people know who you are. After all, do you want to help your fellow agents? Well, I do. Do you?
She's funny. I do you. That's so cool. So we're going to start off with our affirmation. If I can get everybody to stand up, shake it off, wake up a little bit. Our affirmation today is my business is growing abundantly. Now, I don't know who's next door over here. Who's that building?
Yes.
Attorney. Do you think we could wake them up? We say it so loud that they'll wake them up. Let's shake the building here, okay? So whenever we start out, I want you to just say it and just say it from the heart. My business is growing abundantly. So you feel it, okay? We're going to say it 3 times, all right? Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. My business is growing abundantly. Give me another one. My business is growing abundantly. Oh, I can't hear you. My business is growing abundantly. How's it feel, right? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay? So what we're going to do tonight is all about being active and being involved and making sure that you're making the calls. The next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to make some phone calls. You all have your phones. y'all should have a database or some people that you can call with you. Did you bring expireds or FSBOs? Because we're going to talk about that a little bit later today. But this is the section where we're actually going to go and you're going to make some phone calls. We're going to take about 15 minutes. And I want you to think about nets. Have anybody done an open house? Has anybody, through Ignite, have you done the 7-level open houses where you call and you door knock? Have you done that yet? Anybody schedule one of those? Do you have one scheduled?
I don't have one scheduled.
You've done it? Yeah. That's what you get a ton of business from that, don't you? If you follow that 7-level open house and you door knock and you follow up before and you follow up after, if you don't get business out of that, you did something wrong. You're going to get a listing or a buyer. You're going to get at least one person out of that. It's just so detailed.
We have Tina, who's not here today, but she might be watching. She did an open house this past weekend. She did it on Saturday and Sunday, or the weekend before. I can't remember, but she got several leads and followed up with them. She came in and she was so excited about the time that the time spent.
Yeah.
She actually did go out and door knock, and
Very cool.
she had one guy that actually brought like 3 different people over because he was trying to pick his neighbor.
Yeah.
So she was really excited. I wish she was here to share that story with you, but since she's not, I thought I'd share it.
That's awesome, and that's an excellent script whenever you're talking with the neighbors and you're door knocking. It's in the Ignite is, who do you know that you would like to have for a neighbor? Research has shown that people like to pick their neighbors. Who do you know that you would like to have for a neighbor here as you're doing your door knocking for everyone else? That's an excellent script. I use that all the time. So what I'd like for you to do is take 15 minutes. It's a quarter after. We'll come back at 9:30, and I want you to see how many people you can call and how many leads you can get. Okay? If you have problems with scripts or you're not sure what script you want to use or you want to talk about something, I'd love to help you. But this is where we sit and call. If you need to go to another office or something else, that's fine. We'll come back at 9:30 and we'll pick things back up.
You're not supposed to say that.
Good morning, welcome to Power Ups with Max. Now, here's something that I did.
Speaker client. You can figure out what's going on.
I'm figuring out what I'm going to do. Hey, Helen.
Hey, Nancy. How are you?
Good.
Hey, play something that has some balls. I've only got one speaker playing. I'm gonna see if I can figure it out. If you don't mind, like run something.
Most common objections from Jill Michael Baker in Washington. We think we have the time to get ourselves in our issues with us.
When a buyer or their agent drive by, they're interested, you've lost that buyer. Why don't you go to work and see what you do best?
Actually, objection number 2. More on the sale by not paying commission.
Most people assume they'll make more. They think it will sell for the same price, whether they sell it for right. That's just not true. The best agents get 98 to 99% of the list price. The sale by owners often get what less experienced agents get.
I gotta get this one. Oh, yes.
Okay, so I do this often. Like, I'm sitting here, if I had my database open, I would call our database all day long. But like calling my phone, people on my phone, I don't know why. Why do I get stuck with that? I don't know what to say. Like, what should I say?
I'm in a class right now. We're having a competition to see who can get the most leads. Who do you know that may be looking to buy selling real estate right now?
Okay.
Class 7 competition. That's and that's how I started. I'm in a class, we're having a competition. I was hoping I could count on you to help me. Sure, what can we do? Who do you know that maybe in the next 30 days looking to, and I usually say, who do you know in the next 30 days, maybe from a social event, church, or work, because I get them to start thinking about these places. And if you just ask, they're not thinking about these other environments. Right. So I ask them in church, work, social events that may be looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. And the competition is who can get the most leads. And just tell them. It's in our head that we don't want. And I'm going to talk about this when we get back. It's in our head that people don't want to hear from us. It's our stigmatism thinking that.
Yeah. I agree.
Hey there, Brad. I hope you're doing well. Listen, I'm in a class today, and we are having a competition, and I was wondering if you knew anybody from work or church or a social event that you've been to recently who's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Anyway, I wanted to win, and I thought of you, and was hoping you could help me out. 3670268. Thanks, Brad. Bye. Now I'm going calls.
Hi. Hey. This is Alan Robert Kelly. Here's something. Hey, how are you doing? How was your break? I thought today was a good day. To talk to you. I just wanted to follow up with you guys and see how the sale of your house was going. Well, great. Well, great. So everything's moving forward. There, I guess are they in the lending process now and following through with that? Okay. Sure, absolutely. Well, tell David I said hello, and if y'all ever need anything, please feel free to call me anytime. Okay. Take care. Bye bye.
We have a bomb threat or what?
Fire drill. Okay. Everybody left to make phone calls. Phone calls.
What's the assignment?
Call
Hey,
your
John, it's Tammy Rock.
sphere of
I
influence
wanted to
and
give you a call if you're
see if you
still
can get at
available.
least
I'm in a class right now,
back
and
in
we are
8
having a
minutes.
competition. I was hoping that maybe I could bring them out and see if you could think of anybody who was looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Maybe somebody from church or work or a social event. anyway, I wanted to do my best and try to win this competition, and I was hoping you could help me out. Anyway, hope you're doing well, and I will talk to you soon. If you think of anybody at all, please give me a call, and I'll talk to you soon. 367-0268. Thanks. Hey there, Heather. Hope you're doing well. I see you've been busy with the children, and I hope all is well. Listen, I'm in a class this morning and wanted to reach out to you. We're having a competition, and I was hoping that you could help me. Do you know anybody looking at sell or invest in real estate? Somebody that's in church or work or a social event that you may have met. Anyway, whoever has the biggest list of referrals. Anyway, I was just thinking if you could help me out. Anyway, I would love to talk to you and catch up to you sometime. So, anybody give me a call, 367-0268. Thanks, Heather. Talk to you soon. Bye.
How do you do it?
That'd be great. As soon as it's ready, I can just sell them shit. That's all shares.
Either Darcy, hope you're doing well. Listen, we are in class, and I just thought of you, and then how sweet you are, and then thought that you would help me out today. We are in a competition, see how many things we can get in a certain time period. And just wondering if you know of anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. If you can leave your name and number, maybe somebody from church or work or a social event that you have. Anyway, I'm going to reach out to them today.
What'd you do?
What? Oh, no, that's a big up phone.
Talk to you soon. Pay 367-0268. Talk to you later.
She's like, look at you.
Sorry.
You looked at my watch already this time.
I'm sorry.
Did you get anybody?
Not yet, and I don't know how you feel about leaving messages, but I know
I don't.
you
I don't.
you don't leave messages. Okay. Because they'll call you back regardless.
They'll call you and say, hey, I missed your call.
Okay.
If you call them and you leave a message, they're like, yeah, I'll do it anyway. They just won't. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to call you back. If you don't leave a message,
Then
Then
they'll call you back.
they go like, hey, I missed your call, what's up? Oh, well, I'm sorry, I'm in class, I just had to go, I didn't leave a message, I was in a hurry.
How about how many
Gotcha.
rings you go out? Because I don't like going past like 4 rings. 'Cause that's 4 or 5 rings.
I let it get to the voicemail queue. Because I don't want them to pick up and me hang up and then dial right back, and I'm already dialing somebody else. If I dial, I let it go, so it's voicemail queue, bam, hang up, go to the next person.
Yeah, that's right.
Your Google, on your website, where it says, Google Voice. I'm very interested. How do you got it? Okay. You have a Google Voice number? Yeah. Okay. I think that's cool. When I text it, when it comes to you, maybe they type it in and then the text comes to you.
That's all, it's just one of the Google apps. You just copy and paste. It's got the code, you go to Google Apps.
Google Apps?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I'll check that out.
Yes.
I thought.
And it has the icon and everything, you just copy it in and it does it. It's one of those you said, forget, kind of,
Yeah.
not think about that.
I'll do that. I'll do that. Signals.
Huh?
I'll do the signals. It looks really good.
My site's very, company, like plain, not a lot about me.
Right.
Because I'm trying to make it look like it's a company and not an individual. Because some people get stuck on an individual, so they feel they have a better exposure from the company side.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come to my website, I want them to think it's like John Williams' website, not a Wagner website.
Right.
I mean, because then they feel they have a larger, they're going to get more information from that.
Yeah.
But when they contact, it's going to be me. Plus, when I go to the team, well, as I get my buyer's agents, it just makes things a lot easier.
Cool.
What did you do? Did you get anybody? You talk to anybody?
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah. Very good. What? Not yet. Still, you know, this building, that's a building discount. Very good. And there's 3 things.
We'll sit right here. I have ADD, and the first thing I do when I come into a room.
But now I'm gonna start training like how you guys do.
Because of my ADD, my attention span is way.
In fact, I had one the other day, I didn't go to. I didn't even show up.
You won't go either.
I didn't even show up. I told him, look, I'm not gonna make it.
I'm not gonna answer that. I'm not gonna answer it, I would.
I just explained to them.
I've never
Pictures on there on the spot.
Yeah. I called before I was supposed to be there, but I called and said, hey, look, I'm not gonna make it. The inspector's gonna be here, this is his name, this is what he drives. So when he pulls in, he's gonna have you sign a waiver. He's also gonna ask you to pay before he leaves. If you have questions, ask him, he's gonna do this. If you have any questions, let me know. And when he's got his signature for it, you know, but I can just do an outline, I'm done. I'll just sit there for an hour, 2 hours. Yeah. All right, 9:30, we're gonna get back on. We'll have those folks trickle back in as they finish things up. How'd it go? Any successes? And what I mean by successes would be anything from making an appointment, getting a new lead or referral, or just building a relationship more. When you talk to somebody to build more of a foundation.
Yeah, build more of a relationship with a for sale buyer I'm in contact with for quite a while.
Some owners are fun, but that's the key with them is you've got to build that relationship. Some of them take a little bit more cultivating to get to that point, but following up and keeping up with them is a key piece. Very good. That's awesome. Good deal. Thank you for sharing. So if you could turn to your books to page 12:4, we're going to go ahead and get started and get our head in the game. And can somebody read for me Chris Heller's little excerpt here in the box? Who wants to read? Okay.
Chris Heller, major agent and president of KW Worldline, San Diego, California, has focused his lead generation on sellers over many years of being a top selling agent in the San Diego, California area. I learned early on to focus entirely on getting listings and getting them sold, he says. I never really made a conscious effort to find buyers because the listings attracted them, and that's how my team operates to this day. Buyers for us are like bees attracted to honey.
No, you're good. I'm just loving it. Go ahead.
Our business is finding and, sorry. Is that $25?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
Our business is finding and selling listings, but when the buyers show up, we convert them and sell them our listing or another home.
Love it. I get excited when I talk about listings and because it attracts more clients, more buyers. When we focus on lead generating, finding, selling leads, everything falls into place. How many of you read this book? You know what this book is? You read this book? If you haven't, you really need to. And on page 70, it starts talking about what the fundamental things in our business, which is listings, leads, and leverage. If we have the listings, we'll get the leads. Once we get the leads, we'll get the closings, then we can hire leverage to help us grow our business, right? That is very important. Now, research has shown that based on facts, a well-priced listing and a well-marketed listing will bring us one buyer. So how many in here prefer working with buyers versus listings? Anybody? Thanks for being honest. I appreciate that. We're going to try to help you understand a little bit more about listings today. So if we have a listing and we get a listing, we put all the work in up front, we have this one listing. Because a buyer is one transaction, correct? Just one. So if I get a listing and I price it right and I market it right, it's going to attract a buyer, right? Now we have two transactions for half the work. All we did was lead generate for this. And now this is under contract. Hopefully we'll get another one. So this is propagated as 3 deals versus just this one buyer that we're working with all the time. So for lead generating for buyers, we're going to get one transaction out of that. If we're lead generating for listings, you're doubling your productivity just by getting a listing. Does that make sense? It's pretty good stuff. So on page 12.5, today's action plan, what we're going to cover is really 5 different things. We're going to understand what drives top agents to focus their business on getting listing leads. We're going to discover the 6 main sources of sellers. We're going to learn practices and strategies and scripts for approaching each type of seller. We're going to role play. We're going to call expires and FISBOs. And then we're going to walk away with a plan of action. So let's stand up again, and we're going to do another affirmation. We did pretty good last time. I'm going to keep you going today. We're not going to stay sitting down. So our affirmation of the day is, I attract new clients daily. And again, we want to wake them up next door. And I want to feel the love. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
I attract new clients daily.
3 times.
I attract new clients daily.
One more.
I attract new clients daily.
There we go. Now, if anybody's asleep in here, I'm sorry. You need to check your pulse. Something's not right. Turning on to page 12.6, we're going to make it happen. So buyers come to us pretty easily, right? They come to us on a variety of sources. How do they come to you? When you get buyers, where's the leads usually come from?
Open house.
Open house. How else?
Referrals.
Referrals. Okay. How else?
Friends, neighbors, relatives, church. They ride
Call
opportunities.
Sign calls, website, maybe call opportunity for the office, right? Sellers are a little bit more difficult. They want to be more difficult because you can actually go get them. They don't. Usually, sometimes they may call it and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about selling my house," but it's not necessarily like a buyer that's out looking and they make a phone call. So we got to be a little bit more proactive, and we got to really know what sellers want. What do sellers want to work with you? Why would they want to work with you?
Because they love us.
Because they love you, right?
That's pretty fun.
Well, what sellers really want when they want to sell their home, there's really 3 things that they're looking for. They're looking for someone to help them price their home, someone to help them guide them through the process, and someone to look out for the needs, handle the hassle. They want to sell it quick. They want to make sure it's priced right. If you look on page 12.6, it explains the sellers want to sell for the best possible price in the least amount of time with the least amount of hassle. Now, would you agree with that?
Yes.
That's like the bottom line, right? Get it sold, get it done, and just don't let me have any problems with it. I just want to get it going. And National Association of Realtors show that a lot of homeowners, they have the biggest problem is their pricing. 23%, correct? So what other obstacles do you think that sellers need help working with help getting around. What other areas do you feel that sellers need help when it comes to selling their home? We talked about 3 of them. What are some other ones you think are?
Your inspection.
Inspections, going through the process, right? Okay. What I'd like for you to do is partner up with somebody beside you, and I want you to take a few minutes on 12/7, and I want you to write down some things that you feel that sellers expect. Try to get 3 things, and then I want you to write what you think you need to do to help develop your skills in order to better serve the sellers. We'll just take a few minutes to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, you've got a good number. They want you to find the buyer. That's fine. Okay, so what is selling? What they expect? So if you look at here, it says price. Things you can do. So what are some maybe some ideas that you have maybe to see that maybe yeah, well, it's the answer is actually 3, because you're going to figure out here what's one thing the seller expects you to do. And then you can think of something else. Market your home. So you have to study what do you need to do to make sure that you market. And my place is price markets. That's the
So they don't go to the
So, let's talk about some of the things that you come up with. Tell me some of the things you came up with that the seller expects. Communication, okay? And what do you think that you need to work on or need to do to help communicate with your seller? What are some good
Find a
things?
lot of time every day, once a week to do it.
Okay. To call them?
Yeah.
Okay. What are some other ways that you communicate with your sellers? Okay.
And text.
Text, that's another way. What else?
Sending marketing statistics.
What kind of market statistics?
You know, what's going on contract in your neighborhood, their price range.
Okay. That's another way. So they can see what the neighbors are doing, what's happening in the community. Also helps with price changes, right?
Right.
What are some other ways?
I don't know.
Does anybody have any other way that they keep up with
How many showings do they have in the neighborhood?
how many showings in the neighborhood? That's right. That's right.
I interpreted, I put down communication too, but I interpreted it a little bit differently. Not like the means of communication, but more or less kind of a needs analysis on how and what, you know, how and when they want to be communicated with. So just kind of set that expectation up front with the seller. Because I don't want to over communicate with someone that just wants to be left with themselves.
How many of you had a seller that called you a lot? Just keeps bugging you, right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't want to leave you alone. How do you know how to fix that? Who knows how to fix that?
Well, like you said, set up the expectation of getting here every Wednesday from 1 to 2, whatever my name person chooses.
That's exactly right. Another way that I normally do it is if I have a home that's calling me a lot, you'll start getting a cycle. They're calling me every 2 days or every week. So I'll call them before they call me. You do that 3 or 4 times, that starts to diminish to where they can, because they know you're on top of it. They're calling you because they don't feel you're on top of their homes, they don't think you're thinking about it. And the conversation is as simple as, hey, that's how you doing? Just don't you think I forgot about you. I want to give you an update on what's going on today. Haven't had any showings at your house, what's going on in the community. We've had a few showings in that community, but I haven't forgot about you. How's everything going? How's the kids? Great, awesome. You know what? I'll talk to you in a few days. In a couple of days, if I know they're going to call me in 3 or 4 days, if it's 4, I'll call them in 3. And I'll do that. And then I'll start going to 4 days, and then I'll go to 5, and then I'll go to 7 to push them out. But they know I haven't forgot about them. That's the main thing, is they don't want you to think you forgot about them. What are some other ways to communicate with sellers?
First, determine their disc.
Sorry?
Determine their disc profile. How do you want to be communicating? I mean, if I'm talking to somebody, I'm so right brain.
Yeah.
And if Jennifer lives her life on a spreadsheet, she's going to shoot me in the 3rd conversation. Unless I figure it out.
Yeah. That's right. Understanding, very matching understanding you're working with. I love the expectations up front, because if you talk to them up front, you know what they're expecting as far as communicating, then you're not going to fail. You're going to have some of those homeowners that are going to keep calling and want to know. But that's when you take back control, and that's when you call them ahead of time. Some other ways you can keep up with homeowners is automatic updates in the market. Like Zillow has automatic reports that sends it to them to see how many times their home's been viewed on Zillow. Homeowners love that. And what I explain to homeowners is you're going to get some market reports. It could be from Zillow. You have ListHub. You have ListHub, right? ListHub sends out a report. It's very cool. You all use it? If you go into ListHub control panel, there's actually reports you can send out to your homeowners that shows the top websites that it shows up on, how many people looked at it, how many people inquired about the property, and it lists several of the websites that it was featured on. You can send it out the 15th and the 1st of the month, so they get it twice a month. You set them up on that, and you explain, you're going to get market activity reports. You're sitting at home, no one's walking in the door. Average day on the market here is 173 days, right? So if it could be 173 days before you sell your home. So if we're on the market for 30 or 60 days and no one comes in, when you get this report, you're going to see it's being looked at online. That's a good thing. When we see this traffic spike, is usually when we're going to have people come in your home. So they're going to be looking for those reports, right? And that's going to be another piece of communication, because they can see that you're doing efforts online, and that means a lot to them, that they see something that's going on.
I think another great way, something I saw in a training video recently, is a 45-day seller survey.
Yeah.
Just to find out how you're doing. And
so explain how that works.
I don't know exactly how it works, but I would imagine it's just like a, we do like an after close survey.
Mm-hmm.
How are we doing? How can we improve? And I think the 45-day survey would say, how are we doing? Are we meeting your needs? Are we, meeting your expectations? Just to kind of get a feel for how you're doing with that particular client. I think that's a great way to communicate.
I agree. Well, what's the number one thing that homeowners complain about with their agent?
Communication.
Communication, right? So if we set up a lot of different communication standards of how we're going to communicate with them, we set up some reports that they get, we call them on a regular basis, that kind of debunks that whole thing. That takes that whole equation out of the problem, the whole problem out of the equation. We don't have that issue anymore. I spent 2 weeks ago on a Monday, I was getting, just like y'all, I was getting phone calls from my homeowners. Hey, what about this? What are you doing? That's when they start asking what you're doing. What are you doing in an open house? Well, do you want to have an open house? Sometimes you do, yeah, it generates. But if you're really busy, it's kind of hard to get your schedule, right? So when you get behind, homeowners start demanding things from you. We want you to have an open house. Well, it's because we haven't communicated with them and let them know what's going on in the market. So I took a day, and I called every one of my homeowners, every one of them. Let them know what's going on in the market, how many shows are going on in the market. And that just kind of took a lot of weight off. Because now, I don't have to worry about calling me this week. When they're calling me, I can't make my lead gen calls. I can't follow up with other pending transactions or other things that have going on, because I'm fielding their calls or returning their calls or putting out a fire with them because they're upset. You don't want to upset homeowners. You want to refer to the people, right? What are some other things sellers expect? What are some other things besides communication that sellers expect?
In fact, you get it so quick.
So quick, okay. So how are you going to sell it quick? What are you going to do?
Well, I have to stay in the market before.
Okay.
And the bottom line is, there are 10 houses that are active and 5 that closed. and the days on the market are like 200 and something. And the least one was like 25 days. So where would you see yourself? How quick do you need to sell it? Do you need to sell it in 25 days? Or can you wait days and sell it a little later? It depends on their situation. Whether they have to get home from that house.
Okay. How often do you do a state of the market with them?
I do it about 3 times, depending on if I need to.
Okay.
About every 2 weeks or so.
Okay. What else do you do to get their home sold besides going back with them with numbers and explaining what's going on?
Well, that's through the house and be sure that it's staged, basically. It's not maybe rearranges the furniture or say, don't have the dining room as your office. Let's take your office out of the dining room, even if it has to be empty. It needs to be done.
Okay. So you set up front and explain to them what to do to make it more appealing to a buyer, right? Okay. What else can we do to help get their home sold?
Price it
Price
properly.
right.
Price it properly, right? So, and we're going to learn this a little bit later on, but there's really 2 things that drive sales. And I love telling homeowners this, and it's price war through the beauty contest. It's really what it is.
That's a great way to say it.
It's a price war with a beauty contest. If it's not priced right, it's not going to sell. You're going to sit in the market. If it doesn't look good, no one's going to buy it. If it doesn't look good, you're going to have to drop the price. It's going to be a low price. If it looks great, you make it top dollar. But the market is really, and I don't care what market you're at. Price drives everything, right? We'll talk a little bit more about that there. So just a little bit more on things that we can do to get the home sold, and we'll move on. Give me some other ideas that we can do to get the home sold. What are some other things? Vendors ready, but marketing. How about doing, what kind of marketing you're going to do? Sit down and write out your marketing plan, the things that you're going to do to market the home. We're going to talk a little bit more about marketing here in a little bit. Anybody have anything else they want to share about things that homeowners have? Okay, let's move to page 1280. Prepare working for sellers. There's really 3 steps. First thing you really want to do is kind of get your area of specialization. Now, some of you may live in a community that you're very familiar with that community. That could be your area of specialization. Maybe you just want to work with townhomes. That's all the type of homes you want to work with is townhomes. You're going to be the townhouse expert. There's an agent in Philadelphia, I don't remember the man's name, but he specializes in condominiums. Alan Don, that's exactly right. That's all he does is condominiums. If you want to know anything about any of the condominiums in Philadelphia, he's the man to go to. And he can tell you every detail about all the condominiums up there. That's all he does. He doesn't do anything residential sales, nothing else besides condominiums. And he does very, very well with that. So, can it be done? Absolutely. Maybe you want to do a demographic area. Maybe you want to do a golf course area, community. Maybe you want to specialize in a certain group, maybe a bike club that you are associated with, that you can associate with folks. You want to look at a certain thing that you're good at, a niche, and that's what you're going to focus on. Now, if you're getting into a club, you're getting a little bit more broad in types of home, because people could be townhouse, they could be any type of house. But have something that you're passionate about, that you love to do, because that's just going to feed you. That's going to drive you to work with people. They're going to want to work with you because they're going to see that, right? So we're going to choose what geographic area you feel you'd like to specialize in. Maybe what property type, or maybe what demographic you'd like to look at. Does anybody have a certain property type that they work with? Maybe farmland, some with horses and pastures, some loves being out that way.
I feel that.
I like working with those as well. Maybe investment properties. Who are your investors you work with? Anybody? They're quick, right? Flip, get them gone. What kind of properties do they usually buy?
Foreclosures, some.
Foreclosures. Is it a townhouse? Is it a single family? Does it matter for them?
Some do, some only one.
So you know that. You're kind of specialized in that, right?
Well, I specialize in anything.
Anything.
Any quick business. Yesterday I showed the foreclosures.
Okay.
To
Okay. What do we have? Your market, you have about 1,800 homes in the market right now. And you can specialize and be very good at just townhomes if that's what you wanted to do. You grow yourself to be that expert. When you have smaller markets like yours and like what we have in Jacksonville, you're really isolating yourself to that. I would rather see you specialize yourself in single-family homes or new construction would be another one. If you have a lot of new construction, knowing all the builders, knowing all the floor plans that they have to offer, then the incentives that they have to offer. Those are the types of things that I would be thinking of. Do your market research. How quickly are homes getting sold? So you understand what's going on in that community. You also are going to want to know, you're going to want to be the seller-focused professional. You're going to want to know what's going on in the market. You know, basic market data, study and practice your scripts. We have a lot of scripts in Ignite. How many of you like doing scripts? Okay, we got 3 of you that like doing. How many don't like doing scripts? Thank you for being honest. We don't. We don't want to sound like somebody else, right? What is a script?
It's a guideline.
It's a guideline, right? It's in essence, it's a standard way of saying something to multiple people. You're saying the same thing to several different folks, but it's to get results. That's the whole point of a script, is to get results. Because I can say something to you one way, and then I'll say something again just a little bit different, and I'm going to get a different result from you, right? So please don't devalue scripts. I script practice every morning at 9 a.m. in our office. We have a little group that does it, and I can tell you it helps. When I was with Prudential for the many years, I never script practiced, never thought that I needed it. I had a standard way of saying things. We all do. We have a standard way of relating to folks. And that's great, but I can tell you, since I've been doing scripts, it makes things much easier. Because now when I'm talking to somebody, I'm not so much thinking about what I'm saying to them. I'm more concentrating on what times I have available in my schedule to be able to meet with them and get the appointment, right? That's the main thing with the script, is you're just trying to get an appointment. So I don't have to worry about thinking what I'm saying, because I'm practicing the scripts. I'm thinking about the appointment piece, which is where we're going to go. We can't do anything until we get an appointment, right? We want an appointment. So let's go to page 12.9, and who can read for me the inventory trend section? I have numbers we'll fill in as we go. Anybody? Before I pick somebody?
Real estate offers are always about supply and demand. Did you know that
1,800
homes were listed for sale? That number has increased by
8%.
8% in the past month and
15%.
15% in the last year.
So write those numbers down. So you have an inventory right now of about 1,800 homes. Thank you, Alan, for the data. You're up 8% this month over last month. And you're up 15% this year over last year. Now, is that a conversation piece for the homeowner? Absolutely, right? How about someone that comes to you in the street and says, I'm thinking about selling my home. How's the market?
It's right, 1,800 homes.
So now you look like the professional, don't you? Because you know what's going on. You think that's going to get you an appointment? Absolutely, it's going to get you an appointment. So someone read for me the average days in the market section.
Properties that sold properties that sold this past month were on the market on an average of
173 days.
173 days. That's a change of
13%.
13% from the last month and a change of
14%
from the same month last year. Longer selling times means prices are likely to be declining. Shorter selling times means prices are likely to be rising.
So, and that's a 13% increase. So
Could you skip those numbers?
173 days in the market, what your average is right now.
Okay.
Last month it was 152.
Okay.
And this time last year was right at 149. So what's that mean?
More inventory.
Homes are on the market a little bit longer, right?
Homes that are selling have been on the market longer.
That's right. Homes that are selling have been in the market a little longer.
And price rise.
Well, these are average days in the market for active sales. Active on the market or sold. Active.
Oh, they're active.
So these are active, which means, so right now it's telling me our inventory is up by 8%, which is a good correlation because the days in the market are up. That's a good correlation, right? If inventory is up, then days in the market are up. If inventory is down, days in the market will be down. So it means we probably have the same rate of sales that we did last year, it's just we have more inventory. The other good news is that your average sale price is about $160,000, right? And that is, your average sale price is up 9% over last year. Is that not a good conversation piece? So if someone's looking to sell their home and they're looking for numbers, and you can explain to them, well, actually, we have about 1,800 homes in the market right now. And that's up from last year, about 8%. I'm sorry, last month by 8%, last year by 15%. Our days in the market has increased as well. But the good news is our average price is 160. That's 9% up from last year. You know what? We need to sit down. When we have some time, we can sit down and talk about what we can do for your home and see what we can price your home against. If you have some time tomorrow, 2 or maybe 4. Oh, that'd be great. So always give them 2 small choices. Don't just say, when do you have time? Give them a time slot. If you don't give them a time, they're like, I don't have any time. If you do a time slot, I have some time tomorrow at 2, or this afternoon at 2, maybe tomorrow at 4. Now they're going to be like, which time works for me? They're not thinking, when do I have in my schedule? So that's, I'm sure you've already learned that going through Ignite, but that's a key thing as you're going through. It's always a good idea to focus lead generating when the action is. So if you're looking at a certain community and you see there's more home sales in that community, that'd be a great place to start lead generating, calling people to talk about these stats, right? If the average days in the market is 173, and you pull up, say, what's a community that's predominant here in Greenville?
Lindale.
Glendale?
Lindale.
Lindale?
Lindale.
Lindale? Okay, so let's say Lindale, the average sale price, or the average day in the market there is 100 days. But the MLS is 173 days. Is that not a good conversation piece? Look, the average day in your market is actually down compared to what's going on. If you're looking to sell your home, that would be a great time, especially because average sale price is what? How much? 9%, right? Average sale price is up 9% over last year. The average sale price is 160,000. So isn't that a good selling point to get a seller, a good conversation piece? To get an appointment? Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good conversation piece. So turn to 1210, and who wants to read a section about price? Alan, we'll go to you.
Experts know that in most markets, at any time, prices drop real estate sales. In fact, there are few, if any, problems in real estate the price cannot solve.
That's exactly right. Remember, price war in a beauty contest, and it says it on down here. John, pick up location.
You've probably heard it said that real estate value is all about location, location, location. And that's usually true. Between 2 otherwise comparable properties, the one with the better location, view, proximity to service, etc., will command a higher price.
How many, do you have a lot of new construction here?
It's coming back. Yeah, it's coming back.
Have you seen a community where you have one floor plan and it's at one price, and then maybe at the other side of town it's at another price?
Yes.
Have you seen that? Sure. That's a good. That's a very excellent example of location, location, location. A lot of that has to do with obviously development costs and things like that, but that's where location comes into play. I mean, it could be an HOA in one place and not the other, but that's going to increase value. So location is a huge deal. Teresa, go ahead and read condition.
To a large extent, selling a home is a price war and a beauty contest. What this means is that at the price, the biggest thing that attracts offers is great property condition. The vast majority of homes need at least some cosmetic improvements done immediately to sell quickly and for the best price. Keller Williams research shows that half of all sellers spend at least $100 on improvements and 25% spent $2,000 or more.
That's exactly right. Price, location, and condition. See, y'all thought I was a genius and made that up earlier, didn't you? Price, point of view. I just made it seem it's pretty good. That's I've actually been using that for quite some time. We use that a lot in our market, but that's, you know, we take things that we learn from other folks. We use that, and that's what you all should be doing. People have done this before us. There's no sense of us reinventing the wheel. So, how many of you have social media? Facebook page, Twitter, or something like that? How many of you like to get on social media? What I would like for you to do is I want you to take just a quick minute, and I want you to take some of the excerpts from the previous page and put a little post on your Facebook page. Something to the effect of, did you know that the average sales price in Greenville is $160,000, up 9%? Would you like to know how much your home's worth? Send me a message. Or, I have some new software that I'm trying out to determine market values. If you'd like a free evaluation on your home, please send me a message. Something simple as that. Just post it on your social media, Facebook page. Let's see how many leads you can get by the end of the day. How many texts you get that. I'm not a huge fan of putting a lot of business on my Facebook page. Every once in a while, you throw that out. I mean, a lot of folks they keep it personal, and that's the way it should be. You don't want to be blasting houses and all that on your personal Facebook page. But your friends want to help you. They really do. How many, whenever you call your sphere, let me back up. How many are a little bit hesitant about calling your sphere or calling people that you know and asking them for business? Anybody? Anybody? Thank you for being honest. Why? Why do you feel that way? I want to pick this for a minute.
Because they're friends, and you just don't want. A lot of times you feel like you don't want to overlap that. I guess that's probably my biggest.
You don't want to break that barrier between friendship and paying for business, basically. You know what I mean? You just don't want to do that. You don't want to ruin that friendship.
And you don't want your friends to think that every time they see you coming, it's like, oh, here he comes again, he's going to try to steal me something.
Yes.
And you'd rather it be that conversation happens, and that is my favorite word, organically. Like as you're in the middle of a conversation, that it comes up. So I think that's where a lot of times people have trouble.
And how many of you set coffee appointments with your friends or people that you do talking? And knowing in your head you're specifically going to ask for business. Has anybody ever done that? It's kind of awkward, isn't it? Because that's what your objective is, really, to go and try to get business from them, and you don't want to lose the friendship, right? Because you're just kind of put you in a bad situation. Well, let me tell you the reality. That's all in your head. Because your friends want to help you. Now, you don't want to call them and know that you can call every time you call them and say, oh, by the way, who do you know is looking to buy or sell real estate? That's not your conversation when you call them. You call them and say, hey, I just want to check and see how it's going. What are you all doing this weekend? Great, outstanding. Because you're not going to call them every day. You're going to put them on a routine that you keep in touch. It's just following up with your friends. And then when you're done, it's just a simple answer. Oh, by the way, don't forget. And if you don't like saying buy, sell, or invest in real estate, that's a stigmatism. You'll get used to that. Just say, don't forget, if you have anybody that I can help, look for a home. I'd love to get one. Don't forget about me. The point is that you're getting the message across, and you're putting a reminder back in their head that you're in real estate. That's all you're doing. That's the whole point. They're going to think about it. Now you can get a little bit more bold. You can say, do you know anybody from a church, a social event, or maybe some community event that you go to that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? And when you say those precursors, you're saying it in order to get them to start thinking about these other things, right? Church, social event, community, maybe work. So now they're already thinking there. Let's looking to buy, sell, or invest. They're already thinking about that. They're going to probably someone's going to throw it in their head. They say, no, not right now. I appreciate it. Thank you for thinking about that. You know what? In the next 30 minutes, you're probably going to think of somebody. When you do, can you promise me that you just text me their information so I can get along? Thanks very much. Have a great day. I'll see you next week in the ball game. You know what I mean? Don't take the personal part out of it, but they want to help you. So put it on the other side. Say one of your friends called you, and they called you, and they just said, how you doing? And at the end, all they did was ask, hey, do you know anybody needs a lawn cut? For the lawn care. Say they're a lawn care person. Okay.
They're in the lawn care business. I would almost expect it from them.
So why don't you think your friends expect it from you? That's what I mean. So you got to break that barrier and get out from that and be not feeling that way. That's you. That's because we do it every day. You know, we get into real estate lingo that we're talking lingo and everybody understands our knowledge. DOM, days in the market, CMA, comparative market analysis. But if you go up to someone who never sold their house before, you said, I'm going to do a CMA, and I'm going to bring back some DOM along with a summary, and when we done, you're the exact they're going to be like, I don't know what he just said. I have no idea, but okay. Right? Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't know what that was, but I'm not hungry. So we make it more than what it really is. It's not that way. All right? All right, let's turn to 12:11. Let's talk about lead generating for sellers. I love this part. This is where we're getting into some good stuff. So I talked about a lot because when we lead generate, what do we do when we're calling for people? The truth is we're looking for three things. What are they? One of the three things that we're doing when we're talking to folks.
A referral.
Referrals, one. What else? Just 3 things. One's a referral,
Appointment for listings.
an appointment, a referral, an appointment.
It's a strictly relationship.
That's it. A referral, and don't laugh at my handwriting, this is horrible. A referral,
What was the question?
whenever you're lead generating, you're talking to people, what's one of the 3 things that you're looking for? One is a referral, right? Or, actually, one is an appointment, but we'll do appointment next.
Relationship.
And the third is to strengthen the relationship, right? Because this is going to be what? It's going to get you that, which is going to get you that. Which is going to get you to closing count. Everybody knows what closing count is, right? Who doesn't know what closing count is? Don't be shy, it's okay.
Closing time.
Closing count. Let me paint a picture for you. I love this part. So, you have a house on the market, you get an offer to purchase, you get under contract, right? And now you take your homeowners, and it happen to have both sides, and you're the buyers as well. So now you get them all together, and you get them in your car, and you take them down this whole process that goes down the main street of town. And you go through all these obstacles, and we'll say the store windows or the inspections and the termite and everything else, okay? You're going all the way downtown. At the end of town is this big office where the attorney is at. When you get all the way downtown, you get through the whole process. When you get to the attorney's office, what's everybody do at the attorney's office? They sign all the documents for closing, right? So when they sign all the documents, this miraculous thing happens. The clouds open up. The sun shines through. The birds start to sing and money starts to fall because we closed. Is that awesome? That's what we call closing time. Right? So when you're thinking about closing town, I want you to think about this is like a muggy day outside, right? And then the sky opens up, and it's this beautiful Carolina sky. Birds start singing. It's beautiful outside. You're at the beach, and there's plenty of falling from the sky. Is that cool? Does that excite you? It excites me. I want to get closing town. Who wants to get closing town? So, lead generate for sellers, some of the things you're going to do is you're going to look at your database. Talk about to your max and your A's and great pluses. Business-to-business leads. Who knows what business-to-business leads are?
Just like an insurance person.
Allied resources. Yep, allied resources, business insurance, and we'll talk about that again here in a second. Open houses and farming. And some of the 2 that I really enjoy, and I know Alan loves these too, and that's for sale by owners and expireds. We're going to talk a lot about those 2. Those are fun. What are they saying? What's a for sale by owner and expired saying?
Ready to sell. Ready to sell.
It's like a huge billboard right here that says, I'm a seller. Hello, help. I'm a seller. Hello. And what are you doing? You don't want to talk to them. And it's a seller. Isn't that better than making 20 calls to find out if somebody wants to sell? They're right there. All you do is go talk to them. That's just cool. I'm sorry. I don't know. All right, so the first thing we're talking about is your database. When you're working with your database, how many have your database categorized? It's okay if you don't. That'll be good. And what I mean by categorized is A's, B's, C's, and D's. A's are the people that are going to constantly refer folks to you. Those are your advocates. If they were in a grocery store and they heard somebody talking about real estate, they're like, I know the person. I know this is who you need to call. B's are folks, they would if they were asked. So if they're in the work environment, someone comes up and says, hey, I'm looking to sell my house. You know anybody? Oh, yeah, I know somebody. They'd be great. A C, there's someone that probably take a little bit more prodding. And D's, those are folks that probably won't do anything. They say to delete those. So you're going to cultivate the A's. Those are the people you're going to talk to a lot. You'll put them on a regular call basis. Same with your B's and your C's, but they just be on a different call basis. Business-to-business leads. What are some of those? Doctors, attorneys, insurance companies. Do you have any MC marks and agreements? Anybody vendors here? Attorneys?
We have a
lender. Okay. How many of y'all ask your lender for business? Very good. Asking who do you know, right? You're giving them business. You should be asking for it back.
Anybody I pay money to or generate money for.
Excellent. Exactly. Anybody you pay anything to, they're providing a service for you. Why can't you provide one back to them? right? Who else? Who else besides lenders?
Sure.
Insurance companies. Inspectors. Termite people. How about closing attorneys? You don't think they know a lot of people? I tell you, we have a lot of attorneys in the street lobby too. There's this one in particular, and usually an attorney has a paralegal that's a gatekeeper. Some of them are a little bit more brash than others. This particular one, she was pretty rough. And I'm just happy in my call. So I called her and I figured I'm gonna ask. So we had a conversation and I was talking to her, and by the time I was done, I asked her, who do you happen to know that may be thinking about buying or selling or investing in real estate? And don't you know she knew somebody? And I got a referral out of that. But she was very cool enough, so we started talking to her. But you got to warm that relationship up and build and talk to her. You can't just call and say, hey, who do you know? You got to be nice to folks. People just want to be nice to you, right? 12-12 on open houses. Another way to get someone leads. Now, basically, open houses, you're going to have what come through? Normally buyers. But aren't buyers sellers too? Can't they be sellers? Resizing? What's your average market here? Alan, is it, you said a 5-year cycle before they go to change homes again? It's predominantly first time, maybe some a few second-time homes. So if you have a 5-year cycle of folks when they're looking to buy a home or sell a home, you don't think they're going to resize when their kids go to ECU? They're too big of a house. They want to downsize. So there's probably those folks that are coming to your house that are buyers. Do you ask the questions? Are you currently owned or do you rent? Outstanding. Do you think we have to sell it in order to buy this one? Big presumptuous. Do you have to sell it in order to buy this one? Not. If you buy this one, when you buy this one. You want to be thinking, you want to get that motivation going. You want to be thinking about buying so that you can sell their other house. And that ends up being a 4-way deal, right? Because you have this house listed, and then you have a buyer, so that just generated a buyer, right? Pricing and marketing generated a buyer, so that's 2. Now they have to sell their house, so there's another listing, and then you get another buyer. So that one listing generated 4 transactions. Is that cool or what? Just from generating for what? Listings. Lead gen for listings. Just from getting listings. Listings are awesome. Love them. Another way is the door knock. How many door knock? Door knock? I know John door knocks. How many don't like door knocking? How many don't door knock? It's okay. You don't have to door knock. Research says, how many types of lead gen activities do you have to be very successful in this industry? 3, right? Does it have to be door knocking? No. Does it have to be doing open houses? No. That's the fun part. You get to choose what 3 they are. How many different ways to lead gen are there? We could probably fill the whole wall up with what ideas of ways to lead gen, right? So how many do you need? 3. So keep trying different things until you find things that really work well for you. That's the key. It doesn't have to be any of the things we talk about today, although these are the ones that are proven to reap the most results. Next thing is we're talking about is farming. How many of y'all here farm? How many know what farming is? Besides going out and planting and digging and putting seeds in. Farming is whenever you consistently communicate or send materials out to the same demographic of people, whether it's a community, a group, or something like that. You're constantly staying in front of them, whether it's door knocking, whether it's sending out flyers, whether it's doing open houses in the community. You want to be the person that stays ahead, stays top of mind in that area from where you're at. But farming is a consistent thing. Now, it can be very costly if you're sending out newsletters once a month, if you're sending out things like recipe cards once a month. I farmed for years, and actually, for the 4th of July, I put out flags. I buy 850 flags, and I put my business card on it, and then I go around with the community, and I stick it on the ground beside everybody's mailbox. And don't you know that it's probably going to have 2 listings I'm putting on next week just because of flags. It's $500, $450 for the flags, and my daughter and I, we go out and we spend the day putting out flags. It's a great mom, dad and daughter day, and it's fun. It's a good time, and I get business from it. It's like, cool, giving back to the community. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? So on 12-13, it's got a quick little exercise that talks about farming and how to select a farm. When you select a farm, you don't just want to say, okay, I like this community, I'm going to start mailing things to Linwood. Did I get that right? Lindale. Okay, Lindale. So I'm going to start mailing things here. You really want to do a little bit of research before you start doing that. And what I mean is, let's say, this is where you would line up to. So under number 1, where it says number of homes, let's just say that there's 200 homes in the community. And then we look at the system, and it looks like there were 15 sales over the last year, right? That's pretty good. If we look at 3, it asks about the turnover rate. That's about a 7.5% turnover rate, right? Everybody follow me? I'm a numbers geek, so if you need me to stop, please tell me. And then we already said, what's the average sale price? 160, right? So here's where I would start looking at the numbers, and if you need help with this, Alan can definitely pull this information to help you if you want to start farming. I'm going to look and see if the average sale price there is up above below that, and I'm going to see if it's an inclining or declining market. And what I mean is, that are they selling above or below market value? And that's going to determine whether I want to do it. Because if it's down, it's going to be a hard sell, right, for a homeowner to list their house. If it's up, it's going to be an easy sell for someone to list their house, isn't it? So that's one qualifying factor. Then you can look at average days in the market. What's their average day in the market here? 173, right? So I look at the average days in the market for that community. Now, if the average day in the market is 100 days, is that a good market? If it's 200 days, the community's not selling so good, is it? So that's another qualifying factor to look at. You don't want to start getting invested because you have some sort of financial obligation, whether it's your time or whether it's what you print out to take with you. You're going to have something invested in it. We don't want you to waste that. So this is why you want to do the research. So the next thing you look at is you're going to look at how many current number of homes listed in the market. We'll just say that there's 6 listed on the market. The average days in the market is what for the area? 173, right? And we'll say that it is 280. That's too high. Way too high. And then you're going to look at is it convenience for you. So if you live on the other side of town, you're not going to want to drive over there to door knock and everything else. It really needs to be something that's convenient for you. Do you like the community? It's really important that you like what you're doing, isn't it? And do you like it? Do you like the school district? Or do you support it? Because people are going to tell it's your thing. You really do. You don't want to get into something that people you don't believe in what you're doing. And that's going to tell you whether it's a good fit for you. There's one other thing they don't have on here that I want to add, and that says, is there a predominant agent in that area? How many? I'm sure you have some agents here that do farming that send out a lot of material, and then you know that if you wherever you live, if you're getting stuff in the mail constantly from some other brokerage, they're farming, and that's hard to break into. It can be good, it can be bad. They got a good reputation, and you're going to look at what we call market share. I mean, if there's 6 homes on the market in that community, and 4 of them are with one agent, he's got predominant market share, right? He's got his name there. That's going to be hard to overcome. So those are things you need to look at. Now, if there's 6 homes in the market, 2 are listed with one agent, and the rest are with other agents, you're probably pretty good. But if you need help with that, again, see Alan or Jennifer. They'll be able to help you with that. So 1214 talks about market strategies whenever you're farming. One of them is to door knock. So if you had to pick, when you picked a certain community and you wanted to make sure everybody knew who you were, you could go around and door knock. Just introduce yourself with the script there on page 1214. If you want to, if you want to go ahead and read it for us on 1214 where it says farming introduction.
Hi, I'm introducing myself around the neighborhood because I'm an expert on selling activity in this immediate area. I have some free material I'd like to leave with you to show you what homes have been selling recently and at what prices. Would that interest you?
That's pretty easy, isn't it? And what are some things you think you would take with you on that handout? What would you have on a handout?
A snapshot.
On a snapshot. What would be on a snapshot?
Average days on market, price trend, number of homes,
Okay.
sold in the past 12 months,
What else
active competition.
What else could you have besides the market snapshot?
Specifics for that community, like how many houses have sold,
That's right.
what's listed, what might their chance be of selling, what kind of quality is out there, things that affect them more directly.
Exactly. So you have what's called a macro and micro view, right? The micro being a community, the macro for what's going on. You can even do a comparison. What else could you have? If you or anybody in your office has a listing in that community, if you get permission from the other agent, you can even take a flyer with you and say, as a service to the homeowner of the street, we just want to make sure that you understand a little bit of information about their home. Research has shown that people like to pick their neighbors. Who do you happen to know that you'd love to have live in this community? Thank you for thinking about it. Here's some information about the home in case you think about somebody later. Oh, by the way, I have some information that I provide from time to time about market statistics in your communities that something you might be interested in. Sure, can I get your email address? I already got your email address, I'm right interested in the door. So then I come back and put them in my database, and that's my 10 for the day, right? That's one of my 10 for the day. Can you do that? Is that pretty easy? Pretty simple, right? The next thing you can do in a farm is you can hold an open house. Again, you're trying to be the public expert in that community, right? You door knock to let everybody know that you're there. Or you let everybody know door knock that you're having an open house. Then you have an open house. Let them come see you. Invite them to an open house. You can do what's called circle prospect. And like I mentioned earlier with a flyer, if you have a listing in the area, you go around and do a just listing. You can also do Arch Telecom. You can, anybody do a dialer? I know John's done that. Everybody know how they work? What happens? What the automatic dialer is you take an address and you put it in the system, and then it comes back and pulls all the phone numbers for all the homes for whatever radius you want around that house. And it gives you all the contact information for those people. So instead of, and this is best use of time, instead of going to door knock, which is something you don't really care to do, and that's fine. Do you like talking on the phone? Oh, yeah. So that may be a perfect avenue for you to do something like that, because now it's best use of time. You can dial 30 or 40 people in an hour, and you may only hit 10 or 12 doors in an hour. They actually have a trial basis. I don't remember what it costs. I don't know what you're
It's 59. I think it's 59 a month, and that comes from Cole's info.
Marsh Telecom is one. Cole International has
Mojo
Dialer. Yeah. And you put the address in, you put a radius, and the cool thing is it pulls up a list of all the people, and it complies with the do not call, so you don't have to worry about that too. And then you have your script in front of you, what you're going to call and say. Hey, did you know the notice of the street have put their home on you? Do you happen to know anybody that may want to live in the community? Research is down. People like to pick their neighbors. You get your script and you call. And the way the dialer works is it will dial the number for you. Before you start, you will record a pre-recorded message. Hey, this is Al. I just want to let you know some cool information going on in the community. I'm sorry. Hey, this is Al Wagner with Keller Williams Realty. I have some information about the community I want to share with you. If you have some time, please give me a call back, 910-545-4351. I didn't tell me specifics, I just added some information. So you would record that up front, and then the dialer would call. If it goes to a voicemail, or they don't hang up, or they don't pick up, it automatically hangs that up and dials the next person right away. You're not putting any numbers in, it dials it for you. So and then it goes ahead and leaves that message. So it can be leaving 3 voicemails while you're on the phone with somebody else because somebody finally picked up. Is that pretty cool? You can hit a lot more people that way, couldn't you? This is you going to go to database as well. Another one is know your market statistics. We know our market statistics right now, right? Average days in the market? Is what? 173. How much is the market up right now? 9%, right? Average sale price? 160. How many homes are in the market? 1,800, right? That's some good stuff. Good stuff. Now you want to get involved with the community. If there's an HOA, you want to be involved. Go to the HOA meetings. Maybe do sponsor something like a door of the month. Be involved with that. And then the cool thing next is to blog about it. Anybody here blog? We'll talk a little bit more about blogging. We're going to help with that and talk a little bit more about it later. So the cool thing about blogs, it also helps SEO traffic to your sphere, your website. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. So turn to page 1216. Let's talk a little bit about FISBOs. FISBOs are fun. Why?
Because they're ready, willing, and able to sell. Ready, willing to sell.
Their big billboard says, I want to sell my house. I want to sell my house. Somebody help me. Somebody help me. I want to sell my house. What's one of the major concerns of why somebody sells their house in their home? What's the biggest stuff? The commission, right? Don't like their price. Yeah. They don't like the price the agent wants because then they have to take the commission off of that, right? And they're not going to get as much as they want. So what's a good script to overcome that? What would be a good way to look at helping break that down for somebody?
National statistics say that only 3% of first home owners actually sell their homes.
Okay.
Would be a start. That's just me.
I like to ask FSBOs, are you offering a buyer agent commission? Most of them are, right?
Oh, okay.
And then they say how much? How much do you think they'll probably say?
1,000, 1,500.
1,500. Sometimes they'll say, well, no, 3% because somebody can probably help them, right? So if they say 3%, let's, and I have to put this disclaimer, there's no average commission like that. We'll just say the commission is normally 6%, right? And they say 3%. What do you have to overcome?
No, you say, great, I'm going to come see your house.
That's exactly right. Because now all you have to overcome is that 3%. So I'm a numbers guy. So if we have 3% and the house is selling for, we'll say 200,000. 3% of 200,000 is what? $6,000, right? So what do you think their payment is on a $200,000 house right now? $1,200 a month. So if national statistics say that, first of all, realtors get about 10% more than what for sale by owners do. So 10% of 200,000 is how much? 20 grand. We just never gave a commission right there just for that. But we also sell it quicker, less time on the market, right? So if we can sell it 3 months faster, how much is 3 months times 3 times 12? And what is 3% of 200,000? 6,000, right? So we're already got half of that taken away just because we sold it quicker. The other part is negotiating. Agents negotiate better deals. They don't have repairs. They don't have things fall apart. So whenever you go to a for sale by owner, this is where you're proving your value. This is where you're showing your items of value that you're going to actually save them money by listing with you, by selling it quicker, by negotiating better, and by keeping it in front of everybody. Yes.
You're asking a lot of great questions because when most of them will offer that up front, well, I'm trying to save commission. You say, great. Well, how much traffic have you had since you've been on the market? 7, 10 people have looked at it. How many offers have you had? 2, but they were really low. And so, it's been my experience, Mr. Bismo, that when people come and give you an offer, they're trying to save the exact same commission you're trying to save. So that's why you need an agent in place to handle that negotiation for you. We'll net you more money at the end of the day when you let them see.
That's exactly right. I like to dig into that too. How'd that make you feel? Hello, when I talk about this, sure. How'd that make you feel?
Yeah.
You're offended, aren't you? Well, that's part of what an agent does is helps negotiate it for you and makes the buyer realize the value in your home. So absolutely, but you got to ask those questions. How much your commission, or what are you expecting to pay a buyer commission?
But in a lot of cases, the way he speaks about that sounds like he's very confident, knows what he's talking about, and a lot of times that's what they're looking for.
That's exactly right.
Somebody they relate to that they think has it under control.
Absolutely.
Owners want to show their house to anybody who calls. Very, very likely. It's not really dangerous, but we only show it to qualified buyers. And I think that's one of the strongest things because nobody wants to be in danger.
That's right.
And that's huge, and that's a drop off you can leave is my safety tips for for sale by owners. I need to bring this and drop this off. Or after you visit them, you say, hey, look, I need your email address because I want to email you my 10 safety tips for sale.
That's right. I love it. I love that stuff. That's exactly. This is all excellent stuff. You're right. You're right. What are some other things you can offer to a for sale by owner?
Well, it's feedback too. They're not getting as much honest feedback too if they are getting anything.
So what's a good script for that? I know because you know it. What's a good script for the feedback?
I don't know if I do know it, but that's just literally I just confront like that. Well, what types of feedback are you getting from because they'll typically say I've had 2 people come through. So what type of feedback do you get from? Well, they said they were going to give me a call back. Okay, well, hey, Mr. Seller, you know, that's typical, that's what we usually see, but, you know, most people want to be honest to you right off the bat, or, you know, they don't want to be rude to you up front, so they don't give you, you know, critical feedback on what was really wrong with your home. Everyone wants to be nice to you, so, you know, we'll get the right stuff that know where we need to make corrections and get your house sold. So.
Like, good to be put you on the spot. No, that's right. That's right. So it's simply like, you know, if you were meeting and talking with somebody and you didn't like something, you could tell them I don't like that, especially when they just took you to their home.
Yeah.
It's typically what we see, and I can say in my experience, most folks, they're not going to tell you in the face they don't like it. They're going to show you by not calling you back. When you have an agent, they're going to follow up and get that truth, so we know what we need to do to get your home in the condition it needs to be to get it sold, or the price it needs to be to get it sold.
And a lot of times when people do this, they want to exclude, if they've been for so long, they want to exclude all these hot prospects they've got. And you know good well you can do it because none of them are hot prospects because they've already done something.
That's right.
And they never materialize. I've never had one materialize. So I'm glad to do it for 2 weeks or whatever, something where it suits them.
That's right. That's right. That's it. So let's watch one of the videos. 1217 talks about some scripts. Let's see what they have to say.
Let's take a look at the most common objections from for sale by owners. Objection number 1. We think we have the time to get our home sold ourselves.
When a buyer and their agent drive by and they're interested and they can't reach you immediately, you've lost that buyer. Why don't you go to work and do what you do best and let me do what I do best?
Objection number 2. We can make more on the sale by not paying an agent commission.
Most people assume they'll make more. They think it will sell for the same price, whether they sell it or I do. That's just not true. The best agents get 98 to 99% of the list price. For sale by owners often get what less experienced agents get, usually about 8 to 10% less than the experienced agents do. You see, if you pay me a 6% commission, you'll still be ahead of the game by a couple of percent, and you won't have the stress of managing the sale yourself. Wouldn't that be great?
Exercise. Find a partner in class and take turns role-playing each objection.
All right, so the objections are on page 1217, and it actually gives you the scripts for that. You see objection 1 and objection 2. So I'd like you to turn to your partner. Just take a few minutes and practice those between the two.
We actually have time because someone's over at house.
I appreciate the opportunity.
We can make more money ourselves by not paying.
Or somebody who's talking with less experience.
Let's just say it's all conversation. So the sales thing should be.
I promise I won't ask you for your listing. So my call is not what's wrong.
So how do those feel? Did you like those scripts?
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that you could actually have a conversation with the homeowner about?
Yes.
You think it'll help you with your business? Zone out, right? And I'm thinking more about the equipment. I don't have to ask you. I don't have to try to elaborate. That's you do. Elaborate. Right? So whenever we practice on the stage, then when you come up with somebody, you're not going to hear from that. It's appropriate, right? And there's skills of that. All right, so you think that helps you? Are those some scripts that you think you're going to use in your everyday business? What are some ahas for that? What are some things that you liked about that?
About the 6%, the agents get more, first owners get less.
And knowing the numbers to be able to break that down, right? It helps you fix that objection, doesn't it? Instead of just saying, I want to save the commission, now you have a way to get around that, right? You have a simple way that actually would work, right?
That's just not true. Because if you say the same thing and don't make a practical statement, it's not the same.
That's right. You get the point across. Without being ugly, you're just getting the point across, right? That's just not true. And then you have data to support that. Right? You get someone with an IC, they're going to want that IS or IC. And this world of Keller Williams, we all we have a lot of colorisms, a lot of things that we talk about. So sorry if some of this is a little bit off. This is personality assessment, so if there's something we're just getting fast. So, the bottom of page 1217, let's talk about getting ready for FSBOs. So the first thing you want to do is when you get your information, what are some good ways to find FSBOs? Drive around communities, right? Newspaper ads. Where else?
Craigslist.
Craigslist.
Zillow.
Zillow. Where else?
IKWF.
ForSaleByOwner.com.
ForSaleByOwner.com. There's lots of ways to get for sale by owners. How do you get their phone numbers?
It's all the time.
A lot of times
Sometimes on the sign, sometimes it's not there, right? Sometimes it's just there, and or they say email. If we want to talk to them, we don't want to send an email, right? There's some resources you can use. PIPL is a good one that you can go and pull their information up, because you can take their address and go to the tax office and get their name, and then go to a website called PIPL and put in their information and be able to find phone numbers. Another was People Search. Cole's Publications also has a way to be able to pull information as far as phone numbers. You have to always find phone numbers. Spokio is another way. Just a year. PIPL. People Search.
That just sounds fun.
White Pages is another one.
And you just enough information that you want to buy some.
That's right. So once you get the phone number and you call up and use the script, what's the next thing you're trying to do? Get an appointment, right? That's exactly right. So we're going to use the script. Look up at page 1218 where we at. Sorry, I'm not going to read the lady. Georgie, could you please read for me on page 1218 the section where it starts with good morning?
Good morning. My name is Georgie Lilly with Coldwell Banker Customer Realty. I noticed your home is for sale. As a real estate agent customer service expert, I like to keep up with the inventory in this area so I know what kind of buyers to bring. Would you be offended if I came over to view your home?
Right. Very good. Keep going.
Okay. I promise I won't ask you for your listing. The reason for my call is not to list your home. I would simply like to put the home on my for sale by owner inventory list. Would today at 3:00 p.m. or tomorrow at 1 p.m. be better for you?
Georgie, you can come over whenever you like. You sound so sweet on the phone.
I can get angry too.
Just as sweet as can be, I'm telling you. You'd be coming to see my house. Yeah. I would say yes too. Now, was that easy for you to say?
Yes, but I sounded like I was reading it.
But after you practice, that's fine, because you were. But that's the first time reading. You sounded really good. If I didn't know any better, I probably wouldn't know that. I wouldn't, because I'm on the phone.
Sandra and I practice scripts in the morning. We have a conference call where people can dial in each morning, and I was telling Sandra that she said that sometimes she feels like she's reading this, or that she's kind of just saying something. But it doesn't, especially over the phone, it doesn't sound that way. Like especially if you keep your voice natural as possible, and you did, it doesn't sound like it's being read. And when you're not, you're reading it because you're sitting there looking at it, but when somebody's on the phone and they can't hear you, it's a whole different, it comes across much differently than you think.
And if you want to see how you sound, call your cell phone from a landline and do the script. And then listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to script practice, you can.
You can script practice with us.
So, that script's very easy. What's an objection when you call a homeowner for sale by owner? Don't want to list my home with you. It's probably what you're going to see. I'm not interested in listing my home. You say, well, actually, great, I'm not going to list your home. I'm trying to get information about your house. What's the next objection you're going to get?
It's online already.
Well, they're probably going to say, do you have a buyer? Right? Do you have any buyers? And your information is, do you have a buyer?
Don't know, haven't seen your house yet.
We have a lot of buyers, right? I don't know if it's going to fit the needs for the home because I haven't seen your house. It's the truth. I don't know. Quite frankly, that's why I'm calling. I'm trying to get some information about your home. Can you tell me a little bit about your house? I think you're just trying to get some information from the home, right? So we set the appointment, then we go out to the house. When we get there, you just really want to go slow. When I go out to an appointment, I take, I have a personal brochure, and I also take my pre-listing packet and I give it out to them so that they know, so they have some information on the house to look at it. But I have a personal brochure that I take with me, along with the agency brochure. I take that with me as well, so they can read it over. And my personal brochure has my information that I have not truck. So when you go out, you want to go slowly at first. So, aside from this, Georgie, this. Nancy, could you please read that section for me about 1218, where it's got Mr. and Mrs. Isabel? We're at the house.
Mr. and Mrs. Bisbee, thank you so much again for showing me your lovely home. I want to wish you the very best of luck in selling it.
What am I doing? 1218.
Right, I love that.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you for allowing me to visit your home today. Would you mind just showing me around and pointing out your features? Where are you going next? When do you need to get there? And then again, Mr. and Mrs. Bisbee, thank you so much for showing me around your lovely home. I want to wish you the very best of luck in selling it. I have a market analysis here that might help you sell your home. I'd be happy to drop it off because I'm hoping for a win-win here. I can provide you with information to help you sell your house, and I hope that in return you will refer any buyers that are not interested in this house to me so that I can help you. I messed up.
No, you did fine. No, you did fine.
Anybody else I can do.
Yeah, you did fine. You did fine. So when we're at the house, there's one important thing that you need to do when you go to visit a for sale by owner for the first time. There's the one thing that you really need to do. You need to write this down. This is really important. The one thing that you're doing when you're there. This is your primary objective when you're there. It's really mind-blowing. You're there to make a friend. That's all. You're there to make a friend. Once you make a friend, they're going to trust you. If they trust you, they're going to listen with you, right? That's all. You don't have to be upset. You don't have to be nervous. You don't have to be tense. You're just there to make a friend. They're going to show you around the house. They're going to get to know you. You're going to get to know them. You're going to like them. They're going to want to work with you. You're going to sell their house. They're going to refer people to you. You're going to be very happy. So are they. It's pretty simple, right? That's all you're there to do is make a friend. And then you're going to add for some value. But while you're there, you're going to get information. Where do you need to move? How quick you need to be there? Why is that important?
I know what they motivation.
Motivation to sell. That's right. The motivation.
What paper is this?
It's hard stock paper from. It's just thick from Staples. You get a bigger glossy paper.
Yeah.
So while you're there, you know, you're going to do your needs analysis. You're going to find out how long it's, when they need to leave, where they're moving to. That's going to get their tempo. They say they need to move in a month, and our average days in the market is what? 173 days. When we leave, everybody's going to know the market stats. So if they need to leave in a month, you know that their tempo needs to be higher, right? Because they're not going to sell that quick. So you can help them. And now you probably want to talk about that. Our average day in the market is 173 days. How long have you been in the market? What kind of activity have you had? Again, you're their big friends. But you're also there to provide some value. So after you met with them, if you go over to page 1219, this is where you want to win their trust. You're building their rapport. You're going to want to provide some sort of value. We talked about this a little bit ago. It's different things that you can leave. But when you leave, you don't just want to leave. You want to put a follow-up. You want to call them in a week or maybe in a few days. And the best thing you can do is you can tell them when you leave, look, great, I appreciate you showing me your home, like you said in the script today. So that can do to help. That would be awesome. I'm going to follow up with you in a few days just to see how things are going and see if you have any other questions. Is that okay? Sure. I already said it. Now, what's that going to be when I call in 3 days? Is that a cold call or is that a warm call? That's a warm call, right? Do we like warm calls better than cold calls? Yes. Absolutely. So in 3 days, you call, you follow up, and you say, hey, how's it going? Let's do the script on top of 1219 to Henry. 1219, where he starts to speak to meet you the other day.
It was good to meet you the other day. I'll plan to check in with you from time to time just to see how things are going and where they've been. And where there have been any changes in your plans to sell. Selling is hard work. I have a tip sheet on preparing your home to sell at my help. I'll be in your area tomorrow. I can drop it off around 9 o'clock. Or would that the afternoon around 2 o'clock be better?
So I'm getting a little face-to-face, right? I told him I was going to call and follow up. By the way, I got a tip sheet. I can drop it off to you, but I'll be in the market tomorrow around 9, maybe 2. Would that work for you? Go see him again. Again, what are we doing? Build rapport. We're making a friend, right? So now we're going to focus on saving money. So this is another way to follow up. Jennifer, read that script for me, please, under 5.
There's some good statistics available about prices buyers pay for homes. I'd like to show them to you or drop off a copy. What day and time would be convenient? It'll just take a minute.
So we call, ask for another appointment, right? I would add to that and say, again, I have some time tomorrow around 2, is it okay if I bring it by? When you leave it open like that, they're not gonna say, yeah, I can't, you're not seeing enough. Whatever. And then you want to focus on saving time. Let's come back up to the front.
Good morning, Mr. Wagner. I thought you might be able to use this information on home improvements and cosmetic changes that are most effective with buyers. How are things going, by the way? Do you have the names and numbers of anyone who visited but was not interested in purchasing your home? If so, would you mind if I contacted them?
So that is an excellent script right there. Because you are now having a FISBO lead generator. Isn't it cool? So you don't get a listing, but you still get the leads. I love that. That's awesome. It's like having a listing and not doing anything with it, not having to market or phone calls and follow-ups, and getting the buyers from it. And what do we say? And one that's properly marketed and priced brings you what? At least one buyer, right? And they're going to give them to you. So if you build that rapport, they're going to want to give you the buyers. What we call that, what takes us to where? What town? Okay. All right. So 12:20. I would like for you to take just a quick minute and pick one of those couple of scripts on the previous page and practice those with your partner. Just read through those with your partner real quick. Take a few minutes to do that.
We need to add here to the next You can say I have it right now. You can say I have it. Even if you have it, you can say instead of saying and drop it off. I'll just say I have it.
All right, how do you guys feel? How do you feel about kids those scripts now?
Oh, good.
Feel better about it?
Yeah.
Makes you want to get one, right? You want to fuck up this one now? So you can go knock on the door?
Yeah.
What I love to do when I'm driving through the community and I see a sound by sign, sound by other sign, and it's got a phone number, I'll just take a picture of the sign with my phone, so I'll write it down. So when I try to get usually I try to get the house in the background or something, or that's, I know the address. But I'll pull in and go and knock on the door. I love doing this, knock on the door. Hey, how you doing? I see your home's for sale. My name's Al Wagner with Trouble School. Can't get some information about it. I love doing that.
What do you walk up with?
My realistic kit. or my personal brochure or agency. And sometimes I don't have anything, maybe just a business card. That's fine. I'm walking up with me. I'm just saying hello. I'm making another friend. My whole intent of going is to make a friend. How you doing? And I want to get your information before I leave. I'm going to get your email address, and I want to set up a follow-up time. I'm going to get your needs analysis. But that's the biggest pain for a lot of sell by owners is people just come and knock on the door, or inconvenience of showings. So I hope that they were sleeping. Sorry. I hope they were in the middle of reading their paper. I want that inconvenience for them. And they're going to come and they're going to be crowded with me. I'm going to be happy to pepper. I'm doing that. That's cool. So by the time we're there, can you show me your house? Well, it's not a good time. That's okay. I don't care about that. I just want to see some buyers interested. I want to make sure it's going to fit their needs. Come on. Okay. And, hey, where are you going to be there?
I can be enabled for resources to get questions long.
Yeah, and then we're going to get to a lead sheet here in just a minute that has a list of questions that you're going to ask. But when you're doing your script practice and you know the questions to ask, when you're there, you just go into script mode. Where you move to? What do you need to be there? Those are easy questions, aren't they? Right? What do you have your house sold at? Listen for it. How'd you come up with that price? Zillow. Cool. I love when we say Zillow. So let's go to 1221 and talk about expired listings. Expired listings are fun. They're just about like this, because what do they have? A big billboard out that says what? Sell my house. That's right. There's 3 common reasons a home doesn't sell, which is price, marketing, and condition, right? It's a price war and a beauty contest, isn't it? I don't care where you're at, same thing. So there's really, a lot of the times expired listings are getting barraged or overran by agents calling them. The cool thing is usually a lot of them are PW agents. Because we're the only ones usually actively lead generating. I'll tell you a little tip, something that we do in our office is if we get something we do in our office and we have a for sale by owner, and I'll call and talk to the for sale by owner, maybe I just don't feel like they're related or we clicked or it's going to be a good working relationship. I'll take it, I'll pass it on to a colleague of mine, Amanda, and she'll call them right then. And they'll say, hey, I just talked to a KW agent. Yeah, well, we actually proactively market for buyers for our listings every day. I'm not sure where you're moving to. And she goes in her script. Well, then if she doesn't have luck, she passes it to somebody else. So before, at the end of the week, they've probably got just about, 4, 5, 6, 7 agents called them. They're probably tired of getting calls, right? But they're already probably going to list because they know what office is selling in town? Gallowayans, right? So don't be afraid to pass that off. And when you pass it off, like Diana said earlier, you want to talk the other agent up. They say, if they mention, hey, I talked to actually another agent. Oh, who was it? Oh, it was Amanda. Oh, you know what? She is an awesome agent. She beat me on that weekend. She's on top of her game. I tell you what, if you want to sell your house, she'd be the one. All right, I appreciate you talking to me today. Hope you have a good day. If you need some help, please give her a call back. I always push it back. If they didn't feel a good click, then I'll go on the script. Right? It's good business. So, bottom of 1221, there's really 6 strategies that you want to be called for sale by expired. One is going to be you want to confirm the expiration. First of all, that you know that your home is expired from market. The reason I'm calling Mr. Business Seller is that your home actually expired in our multiple listings. What that means is your home is no longer being actively marketed. Did you know that? No. What happened to Jim, my agent? Well, you really don't know. But the good news is I'm here to sell your house. Right? Start low key, but persistent. Be persistent, but persistent and consistent. In other words, you don't want to just call them right away and say, hey, did you know your home expired? Okay, you can come listen to me. I'm going to sell your house, I'll sell it tomorrow. Again, you don't want to make a friend, right? No one likes a sales pitch. No one likes to be pushed. So start that low key and be consistent. You really want to try to close your appointment. You want to meet in person. How many feel they do better in person on the phone? I think every one of us feel that we do better in person on the phone, right? Why? Feel, felt, found? You can see their emotions. You can see, there's more involved there. That's exactly right. You can see how the reactions are when you say, the market is doing really, really bad right now. She's going to, If I come to you and I say, Mark, it's actually 9% in sales, we're doing really good. Homes are selling pretty quick. She's excited, right? I can't get that tone over the phone. I want to get that face to face. So 4 is be ready for listing presentation. So if you're going to go out with them, make sure you have take some stats with you. Take a summary for the market, for the community. Take some stats with you when you go to see it. You don't have to do a full-blown market analysis. All you really need is how many homes are on the market. How many homes have sold in the last 6 months, right? And that can give you what's called an absorption rate. Everybody understand what an absorption rate is? If there's an absorption rate is basically supply and demand. If we have 10 bottles of water on the shelf and we sold 5 bottles of water last week, we're probably going to sell the other 5 this week. If we have 20 bottles of water on the shelf, it's going to take how long? About a month to sell it, right? Same with homes. If we have 20 homes in the market and 10 sold in the last 6 months, how long is it going to take to sell the homes? Probably about a year, right? If we have 20 homes in the market and we sold, so if we have 10 homes in the market and we sold 20 in the last 6 months, we're probably looking at about a 3-month inventory then, right? Because if we have 10 homes in the market and we sold 20, we sold twice as much. What's on the market today? And that's an easy way also besides days in the market to interpret numbers. That's good. And you can go and you can explain it to your homeowners. So top of page 1222, you want to identify what the buy listing didn't sell. You know, homeowners, they just like you, they want to know exactly why. They want to know what's going on. They want you to tell them. If the house is a dog, tell them it's a dog. Just be honest. You're walking. I had a homeowner recently. They wanted to know why their house didn't sell. It was getting ready to expire. They called, so I went and took a look at her house. So we're walking around the home. As soon as I walk in the door, she starts to tell me how much money she does not have. I don't have any money. I'm not making repairs. I can't do anything. I'm planning to paint this big red wall a different color. I love it those kids red, but still, she said that I'm gonna paint this wall, but I can't do anything else. So we proceed in the kitchen. The drawer's hanging. And she's like, I can't do anything else. I know it's a mess, but I just can't do anything else. And I walk over and I just touch the door. I said, okay, well, we're probably going to have to fix that. She goes, yeah, I'll fix that. So we walk in the next room, and the floor has a gap in the floors, the wood floors, where they didn't put it all together. She's like, yeah, my ex left that. I'm not going to fix that either. I'm not doing that either. And I'm not going to, I'm not doing this. And I can't afford to do that. And okay, so we get through the whole house, and it's all lots of negativity. And, that kind of brings me down. I just let that happen. So then we go outside the back. Well, it happens to be the next door neighbor's home is for sale also for about $15,000 less than what her house is for. So we walk out the back deck and we look around, and she says, yeah, I'm good friends with those, and they just put under contract. Oh. Do you know what the house is listed for? She said, yeah, I know. I said, okay. I said, it's 105, and you're 120. What's that mean? She goes, well, I know, but I can't go that low. I said, I understand. Just know what the market tells you, right? This is the market telling you what's going on. Now, she said, well, they've done a lot of stuff in the house. I said, yeah, it looks like it's in pretty good shape. It's, price for beauty contest. So as we're walking back in, there's electrical wires that are hanging where the dog chewed. This sliding door had the outside pane busted off, the inside was still good. So I stopped her for a minute and I said, now there are some things you're going to have to do at home for safety reasons, like this electrical issue. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, well, would you want your kid to let you in here? She's like, well, no, my kids aren't ever outside. I said, I understand that if you were to buy this house. She says, well, yeah, okay. So we're walking back in and I said, this glass, keeps insulation out of the house. You got some chars. She goes, yeah, I already priced that. It's $350. Okay, so she's already had it in her head. So we get back inside and I start telling her, I said, so whenever you go wherever you're going, you want to make sure the home's in good shape where you're going, right? And she's like, yes. Okay. So if someone buys your home, do you think they're going to be okay with the electrical like it is, and the door like it is, and the drawer like it is, and the floor like it is? She goes, no, well, probably not. But I can afford to do that. If I can show you a way that we can fix that and still sell your home, are you still interested? She said, well, yeah. How many of you have contractors that do work for you? How many of you can have a contractor doing work and pay the closing? So didn't I provide an item of value for her to help her get her items fixed to where it's paid at closing and she can still store her home? But I told her that she needed to fix these. And the end result was I said, well, this is going to have to be fixed. And why? Because if she moved into a home, she'd want it fixed too, right? You have to turn it back around on them and make sure they understand that if it's them, that's what they're going to expect. Why would a buyer expect the same thing? Right? All right, so let's look at another video. Objections.
Let's take a look at the 3 most common objections to expired listings. Objection number 1. We're disappointed and tired of all these agents calling us now that our home hasn't been sold.
I understand. You're thinking, where were these agents when I needed them? If you had sold, where were you moving to? Have you already found a place there? What do you think stopped your house from selling? How did you choose your former agent? What did they do that you liked best? What do you think they should have done? What's important in the next agent that you hire? Are you familiar with the techniques we use to sell houses like yours? Let's get together so I can show you what we do to get houses like yours sold. What time would be best? Today at 4 or tomorrow at 2?
Objection number 2. We're thinking this time we'll sell the home ourselves.
I can appreciate what you're saying. In this market, of all the homes listed by agents, only about half are selling. Those homes listed without agents, only about 5% are selling. 80% of the homes I list sell. Let me show you what I do to make those results happen. What would be best for you, today at 4 or tomorrow at 2?
Objection number 3. We're so put off by what happened, we think we'll just wait a while before trying to sell again.
How long do you think you'll want to wait before trying to sell it again? You wouldn't want to wait until next year and get the same outcome, right? Waiting would make sense if we're waiting for a better market. If that took 5 to 7 years, could you wait? We believe we haven't hit bottom yet. If you said you could wait for the market, I'd say do it. But if you want to get to where you're going in a shorter time frame, let's focus on what it'll take to get your home sold instead of just listing it again. And do. Let's set a time to meet. I'll take a look at your home. I'll tell you realistically what it'll sell for and share with you what I do that's different. Let's do that. And if you think that I'm the right person for the job, hire me. If not, decide not to hire me. Fair enough? Great. What would be best for you? Today at 2 or tomorrow at 4?
Exercise. Find a partner in class and take turns role-playing each objection.
So we have the scripts that they just went over on 1222, 1223 through to 1225 on the different objections. Go ahead and partner up with somebody and practice it with all the script with your partner for about 10 minutes. And then go on to the next section.
Are you finished?
In this market, of all homes listed by agents, only about 100%. So this home listed by agents had about 5%.
'Cause
I've never seen like a This is like where I was not the first one. The second one, it probably is first got that appraisal.
How did those feel?
Good.
Feel good? You think we're going to help you?
Yes. Yes.
Is it good stuff? What's your favorite part? What was your favorite part of those scripts? What was your favorite one?
Being able to explain that our business we're going that change the brain. What they want.
So being able to, that it wasn't their house or the finish of the house, maybe it was the agent and the marketing agent, right? What other scripts did you like in that?
I like the objection 30 when that they're so put off that they think they're just going to wait a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nancy and I were kind of kicking some things back and forth where you kind of, so if it took 5 to 7 years, could you wait?
No. It's like a wow.
That's like
5 to 7, really?
Right. We don't think we bought them out yet. So it's really good. I mean, honestly, because it's get worse. Do you really want to continue to wait?
And like they do in the South, everybody says it's really.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart.
Yeah, Georgine, you can call me. I'm telling you, you will definitely get a listing appointment.
Okay.
You sound sweet on the phone. You'd be awesome. Any other scripts that you really like that stuck out to you?
I love to close on that one. I'll take a look at your home, and I'll let you realistically know what I think it'll sell for. Let's do that. If you think I'm the right person for the job, hire me. And if not, decide not to hire me. Fair enough. That's going to get you.
That's exactly right.
I like that it's a negative, and but there's still that embedded command in there. You not, or if you don't, or if not, decide not to hire me, and you're still getting that other hire me back in there. I like that.
It's almost the offer they keep on things.
That's right. Yeah,
You're
giving them reasons to say no, but they can't say no because you're saying, just don't hire me. Why don't we meet and then you don't hire me? Was that genius or what? Let's meet, we'll talk. Don't hire me. Those embedded commands are huge when you say things like hire me, meet with me, list with me. Those embedded commands are huge because I'm saying those things in your head.
Let's do that. Isn't there? So there's a lot.
Let's go ahead and sign today. Excellent job. Very good. So page 1226, this is where, how many brought a list of expired listings with them? Or a list of FSBOs with them. Okay? So what we're going to do is after class, Alan has a list that he'd love to share with you if you need some expired listings to call. He'd be more than happy to share that with you so you can, because we know now where to get phone numbers, right? Where to get phone numbers if we don't have them? People, PIPL, people, white pages, just a lot of places, right? And then we have the scripts that we can call them now. Try to get appointments. Okay? So now you know those scripts. Let's move on to page 1228. I'm sorry, 1229. So when you talk to these folks, after you talk to them and you get your information back from them, and this is a key piece of lead generating and database. My business right now is 75% referrals. 75% of my business is referrals. So I don't make a lot of cold calls. It's just really warm calls, people that I work with. How would it look if you came in every day and you pulled up your calendar and you had a list of people to call, just to follow up with? Would that be a good lead gen day? And all you did was, that's what you did, right? And you're sending them information regularly so that you keep in touch with them. Now that's a good day. So how does that look? Yes.
Can I make a plug for something? I've just got to. I'm in the group coaching program that I signed up for while we were in Bowl to make the phone ring and Coach Fred. Are you on that? Is that awesome or what?
That's pretty good.
I mean, that's exactly what they talk about is get your database and you have warm calls because he's setting you up on a program, start to finish, where you take everybody from a haven't met, you put them on a systematic 8x8. You use your action plans. You walk in every day. You know exactly who you need to call every day. I can't say enough about it. That's the best group coaching program I've ever been involved in.
So let's walk through a lead generating morning and what it would look like. What a good lead gen morning would look like. All right. So you get in the morning, and we'll say you get in at 8:30, and you get everything together. And what I mean by together is you print out your agenda for the day. At 9 o'clock, you script practice for 30 minutes with a partner on what you're going to say for the day. You're going to call Spear or family or friends, and you're going to talk to them when you practice that script, right? So from 9:30, you're done script practicing, and now you can get on the phone for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And as you're on the phone, you don't have your computer on, you're not checking email, you're not doing anything. You can just have a simple blank piece of paper. And you have who you're going to call on one list, and you have a blank piece of paper over here, or you can make notes beside it. And we'll say we called Sally. So we call Sally, talk to Sally, and about a price change for her house. Follow up in 2 weeks. Boom. We call the next person. We talk to Jim. Write on a piece of paper, Jim, looking to buy a house. 1 3-bed, 2-bath. Where are all the notes? We go to our next call. Don't stop and don't start looking for that house. Tell them you'll get information to them later that day. So you go to the next call. And you keep doing this and you make your list. So you're done with your list. You've made all your phone calls. Now you go and you go and do your follow-up through your phone calls. You take those people, because they probably referred somebody to you, you're asking them, by the way, who do you know? And you take and you put those folks in your database. How many use EH? When you get your database, you set them up on a system, your 8x8. You already know what an 8x8 is, right? 8 contacts, or 8 touches, and then you put them on 33 touch. I also put them on holiday reminders and newsletters, because it goes out once a month. You can adjust those campaigns, by the way. And what I mean is I have an 8x8 start. Once the 8x8 finishes, I have my 33 campaign touch start at the end of the 8x8. I went in and just changed it to where whenever it activates, it starts, I think it's 2 weeks out. It's every day, whatever the touch is. So that as soon as the 8x8 starts, it picks up automatically. So I just send it at one time. But after I put those folks in my database and I set up all the campaigns, it says follow up in 2 weeks. So I go to my calendar and I'll put in Follow up in 2 weeks. Sally. And I'll put a little note, price change. Boom. And I'll do that with everybody I talk to. So then tomorrow morning I come in and I look at my agenda. And in my lead gen time, 2 weeks from now, it says follow up with Sally. I print it out, and now that's a warm call, right? So you can see how now you just build a business of referral with warm calls, because all you're doing is following up from a previous call, and you have your notes on what you're doing. How would that look?
Awesome.
Oh, no, that's great. You're exactly right. That's awesome. That's working by referral. And you're working with people that you like, that you want to talk to, because you talked to them before. It's a lot easier to pick up the phone and call and say, hey, Sally had a soccer game this weekend. How'd they go? Awesome. You finish the conversation. By the way, don't forget, if you know anybody, I'd love to help. It's a soft close, but if you mind real estate, you just try them on, build a relationship, right? That's one of the 3 things you're looking for. Get an appointment, right? What's the other 2?
Referral, relationship.
Referral, relationship. All right, so 12:30, we get into using a lead sheet. We talked about this a little bit ago, and this is where, whenever you're doing your scripts, lead sheet, these are questions that you have in your script. This is the information that you're trying to get. And when you practice scripts, if you're doing the scripts right, this is the stuff that you're going to get out of it. So you don't have to be in the order as you're asking questions. A lot of folks, they get in the phone, they get somebody that's looking to sell their home, and they pull this out, and they start saying, okay, reason for selling. Where are you moving to? Are you already working with an agent? If you're a homeowner, what are you doing? You're probably shutting down on me, right? So the important piece of today is make sure you make a friend. So when you're talking to them, you want to talk to them just like a friend. Oh yeah? Where are you moving to? Oh, that's outstanding. That sounds really cool. What are you doing? Awesome. Is this the first time you sold a home? Okay. Okay. I'll tell you what. I'm going to get an appointment before I get all this. I'll get this when I get on the team. There's a lot of schools of thought. You get it up front, and you get all this, and so you don't have to waste your time. Some people even find out what they owe. This is just one little thing of mine that I don't care what they owe. I don't. It doesn't matter. Why? It is what it is. They have to sell whether they owe underwater or not, right? They gotta sell. Whether it's a short sale, whether it's not, they gotta sell. If I just discount them on what they owe in their house, I'm losing the opportunity to get referrals, to build the relationship, which is 2 of the things that we're looking to get besides employment, right? So if I go out and I spend 30 minutes or an hour going through a market analysis and showing what their home can't sell for today because they're upside down, do you think that's going to be a value to them? I think it is. Huh?
You say give them a CMA.
If I spend 30 minutes, I already know that they can't sell. That's why I said that they can't sell. So I go out and I show them what's going on in the market today, and they realize that they can't sell their house because it's just, they owe too much. Did I give them anything of value? Sure. I let them know what's going on. Do you think that they're going to tell other folks about it? Absolutely. Do you think any of their agents going to take that time to do that? Probably not. They're probably not going to come out and take the time if they know. If they ask me to phone you up. It doesn't really matter. We'll worry about that. We have ways to fix that. You're a problem solver. There's ways to fix that if somebody owes too much, right? Personal loans, friends, family. There's ways to get around that. I do it all the time. I had a homeowner bring $32,000 to closing to sell their house. It's pretty common on the market right now. So that sell lead sheet, use it. Go through it, look at everything, and make sure the script that you're practicing are getting in line with that, and that you get all the information. If you ask how many years they've owned the house, that'll kind of give you an idea of what they're going to owe on it, right? You probably have an idea of the tax record, what they paid, and how long it's been. So on page 11, or 1233, we talk a little bit about providing some value with media. Speaking of media, did anybody get a response on the post earlier for Facebook, on Facebook? That's awesome. That you've been really engaged in that. Thank you. That was a good answer.
I wondered if you had given us a chance to do that.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
Yeah, earlier. Remember when we went over stats and once they go back and post, maybe I have new software to try out?
Yeah, I'm still paying attention.
You were just very focused. That's very good. Thank you. Did anybody get any results off of that? Not yet? Let it work. It'll nurture itself out. So one of the ways is do blogs. How many blog? You have a blog?
Occasionally, not.
Does anybody want a blog? Just don't know what to do?
Yes.
No clue.
No clue. Would you like to blog?
Yes.
Okay. What would you blog about? Any idea?
But I just tried on that.
Current events in the neighborhood.
Hey, I'm going to give you a high five. You and you. You also, because you said what you just wrote on the thing, the stats, right? What you posted on social media. Current events. What else?
Tips on selling your home or staging or energy efficiency.
Okay.
Tips.
What else? They say one of the best sources to find ways to blog is from your email.
Yeah, IKCWK.
Because how many times do you answer the same question over and over?
True.
A lot, right?
Yeah.
So look at your email, look at all the things you've answered, and blog about that. What are closing costs entail? How long does it take to sell a house? What's the market doing over here? I'm thinking about maybe renting my home. Some good ideas for blogging, right? Videos, that's another way. What's some things you can do with video?
Where do you blog though?
Sorry?
Where do you blog?
I use Blogger. Yeah.
Then you can post it on your Facebook page.
Yeah. It's really easy to set up, and it's connected with Google, and it does what's called Google Juice. And Google Juice they have analytics that help boost your website rankings. So if you link all that back, so let's do, you have eEdge. Do you have any community pages set up on your eEdge account?
Yes. Yeah.
So you can set up a community page for maybe, remember we talked earlier about the geographic area? Like Linwood? Did I get it right that time? Lindale.
Yeah.
So
there are a lot of trees there, so I mean you're kind of on the right track.
Okay. So if we take Lindale and we started a farm in that community and we created a blog for that community, we could also go to our website and we could set up on your eEdge account, you could set up a little community page section. And it would have, you could put a picture of the front entrance on it, and you can also have it do an automatic search to pull up all the homes active for sale there. So you have a blog now for that community, talking about what's going on in the community, and that links back to your website for that page with all the homes for sale for that community.
And Google helps you boost.
Well, that actually boosts you in Google. Yeah, because Google sees the relation from the blog to your website. There's a correlation there because you have the community name in both, and then the content on both will be there, and it's for sale. So that relates, which creates more of a boost, pushes you up higher in search engine rankings. It's not that hard at all. It's a little thing about eEdge.
I can check that.
So then you can start putting videos. What would you video on?
Drive-throughs of those neighborhoods are awesome.
And how would that look? Very cool. I mean, what would you do?
You know, you might want to take a tripod and set a little flip video camera up and say, hey, this is Alan Robert Keller's Realty. Today we're going to look at Lindale community. I'm just going to do a drive-through, so I'm not going to be talking a lot, but I want you to have an idea of what this neighborhood looks like in a typical house. And you start in your car, you point it out the window, you just drive through and get the landscape of the neighborhood.
That's right. Does it have a pool in the community?
It's got a pool, sure.
Stand by the pool. Hey, it's Al Wagner. I'm here at Lindale. We're outside at the pool. It's really good. Great sunny day. We'd love to have you come out and see the community. We've got several homes for sale. If you'd like to do anything about it, please call me 910-545-4351. Have a great day. Boom. Stand up in front of the sign up front. Hey, it's Al Wagner in front of Lindale. It's a great community. There's 3-bed, 2-baths. Average sale price is $160,000. We've got a lot of great homes. If you'd like to know more about it, please give me a call. Boom. Post it on YouTube. That's going to come back to you, right? Doesn't have to be a long, elaborate thing. You don't have to, you know, it's great you're doing the tripods and everything. Don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of times we don't have that time.
It's just because I
No, that's absolutely. I mean, we squirrel all the time. We have those all over the place. But implementing is the hard part. We always get ready. You know what I mean? I don't have time to go put the tripod. What do I do? The sun's cloudy. I know. Just do it. It doesn't care. And if you don't like the way you look in the video, this is something we learned the other day, guess what? That's who you are. So if you're looking at it and you play it back and you go, oh, my hair wasn't right, oh, this wasn't right, I'm sorry, they don't really care. It's about the message. It's about what you're doing. The other thing is Facebook. We did that earlier. On Craigslist, how many people work Craigslist? You do a lot of Craigslist posts. Do you get all the results out of that?
When we did hot link, it was much, much better. Now that hot linking is gone, it's, to be perfectly honest, just diving back into it as of what, a week ago.
What's the national average for, according to NAR, for web lead conversions?
For what?
Converting a web lead to actually a transaction.
One in 100 if you're not really active. 2 in 100 if you operate at a high level.
Okay.
That's what I hear on it. That's not our statistics.
So if we're adding 10 people to our database and we're doing a consistent follow-up and we have 10 calls we make a day and we write 10 note cards a day and we visit 10 homes a week, how hard is that? How many leads do you think we get out of that? Building rapport, working with our sphere of influence, getting our neighbors there. And the people that you're going to work with, who are they going to be? People like and trust and love you that you know. Don't you like working with those folks better?
Yes.
So am I going to spend time trying to get 1 out of 100 people to call me by pushing things on Craigslist? Or am I going to work my sphere and call and talk to people that I like to do?
Sphere is much more effective.
Very, very much more effective. That's exactly right. So page 12, we'll talk a little bit about this earlier. Differentiate your lead generate sources. You got again, how many lead sources you really need to be very successful? 3, right? 2 to 3 will be very good. So try several. Figure out what works. Going big with FSBOs or expires. Don't be afraid to go knock on the door. Don't be afraid to call them. It's all about, you know, we talked about farming earlier, and I coach and help a lot of agents in the office, and I tell them, what you're doing now is you're cultivating business for later. You're taking and you're plowing those rows and you're planting those seeds right now. It's going to come. You just have to keep watering them by your follow-up, right? They're going to come up, and when they come up, it's going to be really good. Because not only are you going to have 1, you have a listing, it's attracting a buyer. Now we got 2, which can get to 4, like we said earlier. It's like a popcorn effect. Let's go forward, let's throw it in the microwave. Get deeply involved with knowing you're working. See how that just bubbles? I tell you, that's wrong. And you want to make sure you lead generate with purpose. With focus, I'm sorry. Lead generate with focus. And what I mean by that is knowing your scripts, knowing the market, using your listing skills, focusing on their needs, and consistent communication, doing your follow-up. So, let's recap what we talked about today. We learned the power and the leverage of listings to your business, right? Everybody feel that they understand how that's important now? Pretty important to have listings. We learned the major sources of sellers. We discovered how to talk like a seller to be a professional. We practiced the scripts. We talked about learning the lead sheet and why it's important. And we learned about e-edge campaigns. You all know how to use these e-edge campaigns, right? If you don't, Alan has an excellent way to show you.
What is that?
E-edge campaigns?
Yeah.
Those are follow-up campaigns.
Wait, I know, but I'm really new to EN, so what's an excellent way to learn?
Get with Alan or get with Jennifer.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah. So, next thing we're going to do is we're going to plan for tomorrow. Tomorrow is your accountability piece. So if you haven't made your 10 contacts, if you haven't added 10 people to your database, if you haven't written your 10 note cards, and if you haven't visited your properties, this afternoon would be a great time to do that.
That'd be a 24/7, I guess.
So you want to plan your first campaign. You want to create a social media post. If you didn't get a chance to earlier, you can go ahead and get the data we talked about earlier and get that together. Choose a farm area. If you want to try to farm, choose your farm area. Get a door knock approach together. Get your script together for door knocking. Neighbor up the street, just put your house in the market. I like to go and say, you know what your neighbor did last night?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I love that.
Meet one more FISBO. I challenge you to go out and door knock a FISBO. Even to call a FISBO. Door knocking is so much more fun. You get that face-to-face relations. God, I love door knocking. Amanda Porter is in our office, and we had Red Day. And on Red Day, we collected money for the Wounded Warriors. Homeless veterans, I'm sorry. And we door knocked up and down the street, and businesses. And she is high energy as well. So we're going through these places, and we're like ping pongs bouncing off each other. I mean, we walk in, and we walk up to the door and said, no soliciting. And ladies sit right beside the door. We look at each other, we look at the sign, we look at her, she looks at us, we walk in. And they donated. So, I mean, it was just, if you have a door knock, pick a good partner that has a lot of energy, so they can pick you up. If you have a lot of energy, pick someone you can help pick up, but it's a lot of fun. It's a blast. Have lead sheets handy at all times. If you're driving down the vehicle, how many are envelope writers? Sticky notes, back of your hand. No. I go to my assistant Heather and I'll hand her a paper. She's like, "What's this?" It's got a name and a phone number, and I just get my thank you. Put the lead sheets in your car. Put them in your car. Put them above your visor so someone calls and asks about a property. Pull it off, and then fill out the lead sheet. It makes your assistant's life much easier. I'm learning that too. I'm just saying. That's what they said. All right. So today, I would like to get at least 5 ahas from today. So who can give me an aha, something that you learned today? Something that stuck out to you today?
3 types of lead generation.
3 types of lead generation. It's amazing, isn't it? That's it. That's all it takes. Just be good at 3. Doesn't matter.
Be prepared for whatever the situation is. Know your script. Okay, I'm doing that.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Helen. That's fine. You go first.
I was just going to say, when you go on an appointment, go with the mindset that you're trying to make a friend. Like that.
People like to go, they're going to, thinking they're going into objections. You know, we're going to go in, this is going to be a problem, they're going to say this. I'm just, you know, if you study your scripts, you're ready for the objections, so I don't have to worry about what you're just going to say. I'm just going to make a friend. And if I don't know, I'm not going to try to snowball them. You know what? I'm not sure about that, but I'll get back with you. Now that's a follow-up call. Mm-hmm. That's even better for me. Sometimes I'll just say, you know what? I'm not sure. I may know the answer. I'm not sure. Let me check them out. Gives me a chance to call them back. Especially if they're really strict. Oh, that's excellent. Heck yeah.
I like the idea of a team approach to calling business.
Yeah.
I think, of course, you have to get a committed team, but that is for me, that's I'm market center and so forth. Let us do a team thing, whoever gets it. But the market center is big time.
So now you have 6.
I'm with you.
So now you have 6 or 7 agents looking for FISBOs, right?
That's good with buyers.
Yeah.
I don't get along with you. Just give it to somebody else.
Or refer a buyer out. I mean, I probably do a referral for a buyer, but for a FISBO, they're probably getting a lot of calls. Why not have it from the same office? I mean, that's gonna, wow.
Well, they're wondering, like you said, that was so good. They are wondering. Keller Williams is the only one calling me several times, different people. They don't get much of a call.
And they don't know that we're just passing a number out in the office, right? Because they don't know that. They don't, why would they think that? So that's 3. Give me 2 more. 2 more odds for that. No lie.
That. Yeah. I like that. That Alice will help
Learning about that. Yeah.
I like learning about that too.
Yeah. That'll help out a lot.
That EX system is so powerful. I don't know how many people are truly engaged with it, but when you set those 8x8s up, when that reminder comes up, it tells you exactly what to say. There's a script there. Right. All you have to do is just open it up. It tells you when to call, tells you what to say. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's like a transformative real.
Yeah, and other people at other companies have to pay big money for that. And we get it. It's awesome.
I have another one too. Okay. On open houses, because I used to do that's my business, which was open houses. But this sentence, going around knocking on doors and say, I promise, my homeowner that I will go around and tell all their neighbors about their home. And so you know, we help him. You know that this house is the one that I'm today. I think that is, that's good. It gives you a real reason to talk, and also it's saying to that person, well, look what they're doing for that.
That's right.
Yeah, and that, she seems to know a lot about the neighborhood. And then when they're ready to list their house, they're like, oh, remember that woman Helen? She came over here. She knew a lot of stats about the neighborhood. She knew a lot of things about the neighborhood. I'm gonna talk to her.
Get shot from.
Where's that fire? Did you see how I found it?
Speaking of flyers, I
Where else?
Any questions about today? Anything else? All right, well, that's it. I appreciate y'all coming out today. Thank you. Awesome job.
Thank you.
I told y'all this in my email. I said,
Which was amazing. It's not
It's such a lot of time. I know.
Touching the box like that, our Susan is not good. He's taken that and he's done snapshots and put it in the market.
Absolutely, and I'm going to give you.
This is all.
It's all of those sessions. So let me tell you what the rest of
Thank you, and I'd like to some information on our scripts practice too, if you ever want to call in and come in. I did those on move.com. Move.com. Yep. Move.com. They are just, I like them in it. But I think they were really more expensive. And I think what I'm going to do after this is talk to somebody and say, hey, can you do this? Technical experience room.
But you would, I would look at actually getting you on the buy side.
I just started to know so far, I absolutely. The thing is,
I would look at the stats and say, actually, prices are crazy. You know, if you want to get our town to great times,
There's no building for it.
on creating urgency.
March 9 is
And I would look at, split that out, like you said.
or the next week, because it's a highway working on Friday. And I'll send you a live calendar so you'll have those dates as classes as well. So I have no video, I'll just send you that. And that way, you don't have to you know, things that have to do it, I'll tell you. I'll let you, and I'll send you that conference bridge anyway for the scripts today. Sometimes we just have big house.
But see, I
Right.
You do that.
How much you get?
You just go to,
But now I wasn't, I have to see, and if you're really, there has to be a better information like this. And that's the fact that you have
syndicated out, so people can get it. So you can put in there at the time. The time delay, and it will pop up in the day later. It's not wasting my time. And then what's coming.
Yes, so, okay.
So here's.
It's not retail sales.
Whenever Amanda, she sends it to me. She has a list of programs she goes from sales. And then she'll have a I check those all off.
Oh, you're thinking of that. No, it's cool. That's
Last week.
I'll send you some
Let's go.
Thank you.
And I'll take your. I have no questions. Okay, that's
I enjoy it.
Did you get some stuff today? Outstanding. I'm glad you're back.
I'm sure it is.
It's a lot.
Do you think the basics are pretty good, or do you have a lot of equipment to be here?
You can use it.
I just started like two screen
Okay. That's awesome. I mean, the cool thing is, well, now the good thing is that you're going to start with a big slate. You're going to get started.